clothes, we packed your clothes, and we're back to Montreal. Said it was colder there, it still hangs in the air, it helps you forget it all. You left an empty bookshelf that I didn't fill till fall. This is a first-rate town, you know. You just can't see it at all.
At Tampa Electric, we're committed to reliable energy.
Of blood, guts, and glory, and all that was lost on the way. There was nothing to do, and nowhere to run. There was nothing that I could say. She asked you where you found success, did you simply turn away? I'm coming for you now, and I'm coming for her too. When you're in the ground, well maybe I'll be done with you. It wasn't always that easy, no, it wasn't always that slow. And when the gun was cocked and when the bullet was set, well there was nowhere left to go. It wasn't always that easy, no, it wasn't always that slow. I just thought you'd like to know this time, I just thought you'd like to know. And was I wrong? Was it fated from the start, or did I stand the chance at all? dust in my eyes enough to tell me what to do. And the bullet you left in my thigh, well, I'm giving it back to you. It wasn't always that easy, no, it wasn't always that slow. I just thought you'd like to know this time, I just thought you'd like to know.
Green light, show them what you got.
Why do I have to stay here on the ground? It's overrated. The cityscape escapes you with a sound. It's delineated. I waited at the station for an hour. I won't make a mistake. I'm on an uptap by the tower. And overtaking
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 7 of the ZRL Championship at Donington Park. It's such a pleasure to be joining with you guys this evening. Unfortunately, we won't be able to race this evening, but still, this takes the cake as the second best. So we'll be joining along and calling the action this evening, and looking forward to some great racing this evening. I'm sure everyone else at home is as well. That's for sure, and lots of history around this track. From what I remember, the Grand Prix circuit is just over 4 kilometers long, 12 turns making up our circuit today, and has been the host of the British GT World Championship since 1993. However, that is not the only series that has come here. It's been hosting the World Superbike Championship and other major series like DTM, and most notably the famous European Grand Prix Formula One race in 1993, won by Ayrton Senna in what might be one of the most incredible displays of driving in motorsports history, where he set the lap of the gods by going from 5th to 1st in the first lap of a very raining race. Today, however, doesn't look like it's going to be raining today. It's just sunny skies despite the typical British weather being quite rainy. We might be seeing a very dry race today, and hopefully we'll be staying dry for the most of this incredible doubleheader, one that you will not want to miss. Incredible display of racing all through this season, and to say the least, I can honestly say this is probably the closest battles in points I have ever seen in a racing league, and all throughout the standings. Not if you look at Legionnaires or Centurions, this has got to be one of the closest seasons in ZRL history, and it will only continue to get better and better as this league grows. and develops as the seasons go on. Absolutely. I mean, as a driver, I can say personally, when you know the points are close, you know it's crunch time. You have to put in the laps. You have to make sure you're 100% on your game, especially today. With a double header today, 30 minutes on the clock, you gotta have to be on your A game. 7 minutes in qualifying, every lap must count. No mistakes, especially on, but that's gonna be difficult on such a tricky circuit, such as Donington, with many flowing corners and some very tight ones, as we see. Looks like Nick going into one of those tight corners of the hairpins. These ones super, super difficult to get right and can cost you so much on your lap time.
Yeah, that corner particularly reminds me of Canada, you know, the F1 circuit, the street circuit, that last hairpin before they head down to that chicane. Very similar in my opinion.
Very much so, and a very difficult corner, both of those corners actually, to get right. So we'll see how our incredible, talented field of drivers can handle and tackle those tough corners today. And I'm personally very excited to see how this all plays out, because this might become one of the most important races on the schedule, as we are in our second to last race before we go to our season finale at Indy.
Yeah. And like you mentioned earlier, it's a two-rounder, you know, 2 races there. So very important. You got to really capitalize, perfect your setups, because there's no refueling this round. So you really got to capitalize on your setup and make the most of the opportunities you get. As we see,
That's right.
Mosley going off track there a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully not a sign of things to come, but I've raced with Nick quite a bit, and I can say he's one of the most talented drivers in the field in terms of the Legionnaires class. Gave me a good run for my money at Valencia, where he won both races actually in our previous doubleheader. In fact, to make sure I touch upon this is our second and last doubleheader of the season, and the importance of this doubleheader. Each race is not worth the normal key points that we see in normal race championships. They are going to be worth 25 points each. So if you want to obtain the best of the best of what you would normally get in a single race, you're going to have to perform twice as hard, twice as well, and do it twice as much. I mean, this is why I say this is going to be a very, very critical evening for many, many drivers looking to advance their position on the leaderboard in the point standings.
Yeah, you were mentioning that Nick Mosley is one of the faster guys you face in that Legionnaires class. Taking a look at how he's done in past races, he has missed almost every race. I'm not sure what that's for, but he had 5th place in what is round 4, which is Kailami. And then he had the 2 wins back-to-back in round 5, which is Valencia.
For sure. I mean, Nick probably, I believe, joined us towards the latter part of the season. However, it's been a pleasure to race alongside him personally as a fellow Legionnaires driver, and honestly, I hope to see him next season becoming more active, and I honestly am going to say he's going to be one to watch and potentially winning next season's championship. He'll definitely be my pick.
Yeah, it's definitely fun to see one of the newer guys, one of the younger guns, come out and perform well. Like as you see in Full Moment, some of the younger guys, like Max Verstappen, going in to win his 3rd driver championship now. So there's definitely like interesting facts of seeing these guys really come up through the ranks and earn their spot quickly, earn their respect. Taking a look at the timing sheets right now, we have Ricardo Rivera, the fastest lap so far in practice, with a 1:26.8, and as I speak, that gets beaten by Skylar Levernick with a 1:26.7.
Rapid from Skylar.
Very rapid, and he goes for low spin there.
And there's trouble. I think there was actually contact with the Mercedes in front. Was that, well, who is it? Nunez?
That is Nunez. Nunez.
Yeah, did we get in contact with that? Let's take a look
on our replay. Yeah, he just goes a bit deep, locks up maybe, and hits the back of him on the replay you see there.
Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting. I mean, not normally a mistake we see from Skylar, or do you believe Nunez maybe broke a little earlier than he anticipated?
I probably maybe a little bit of both, honestly. A little bit of a mistake for Skylar Levernick just going a bit deep there, and Nunez breaking too early, just causing like a little bit of friction. Just wrong place, wrong time type of moment. As Nunez hasn't ran that many laps yet so far.
For sure, and we've talked about it before. I mean, this is the time where mistakes are going to matter the most. I mean, these short races, limited qualifying time, each lap's got to count, and hopefully, like I have said before, in this free practice section, this is hopefully not a dictation of what might need to come for a driver very much talented, and as we see Gage messing up as we go into the corner.
Yeah, just got a bit too much grass on that left side tire, and just couldn't get the brakes to stop in time.
Yeah, I mean, Rivera a little bit wide there, I believe.
Yeah, that was Rivera right there going wide again. So Donington is a very tricky circuit, like you said, with that flowing section, which is primarily Sector 2. And towards the very beginning of Sector 3 as we head into that chicane. It's very tricky. Track limits are pretty strict here, as they were in COTA as well.
Yeah, I mean, we might be seeing a very interesting 2 races ahead of us if potentially all drivers seem to have their own share of troubles trying to find the limits in free practice before we head into qualifying. And as we've talked about before, some drivers have more practice time than others over the course of the week between one race to another, and that might heavily dictate on who will come out on top in these next 2 races.
Yeah, for sure. And that brings up another question for me to you, Kyle, is how much do you push in practice? Do you go absolutely on the limit and go over track limits and really find where that limit is, or do you kind of conserve, maybe hide some of your pace from some of your competitors?
I find it depends very often on what your strategy is and what the track you're dealing with. Like, for example, with COTA, I understood that track limits was going to be what dictates the top spot from the people who are going to get drive-thrus or get penalties in other ways. So instead of focusing purely on pace, was focusing on consistency and being able to hit my marks and keeping the car on track. Completely ignore your pace, because that's not exactly going to matter. You're going to have to focus on high tire wear, which is very common at COTA, keeping those tires healthy for as long as you can, and while keeping the car on track. So, but overall, if we were to make an answer, absolutely, I'd love to push as hard as I can, find those limits, find every little ounce of pace you got. As we see, is that Alex pulling off to the side?
That is.
Did he? It doesn't look like he did anything to cause a spin or anything. Not staying any tire marks to the grass, so I think he's just pulling off from the track to finish his lap. As we see, I think is that KP and Sean scrapping on track?
That is a little bit of those 2 scrapping on track, and actually, as I'm looking through here through my broadcasting system, it says that they made contact. Let's go ahead and take a look at that replay.
Interesting. As we can see here, it looks like KP going wide, and then and Sean
Just goes a bit wide into him.
Yeah, kind of. I think just a case of miscommunication. Hopefully that has not damaged that 138 Porsche too much.
Yeah, I believe that KP was coming out of the pits there, that wider pit exit into turn 1, and just didn't either get out the way in time for Sean, or Sean thought he was going to be clear, and just wasn't.
Absolutely, I think that's probably what happened. I mean, and let's be honest, Donington is definitely not one of the widest tracks on the calendar, and especially through that first sector, there's not a lot of room for error and get out of people's way, so definitely a tough track to pass on, and all the more reason to be on your A game and have a head on a swivel, as I like to say, especially around here. And I think the tight quarters of qualifying with everybody on track at once will not be the last time we see contact, I'm sure, throughout this race weekend.
I could not agree more with you there, Kyle. As we take a look at the time sheets yet again, it's KP back on top of the 126.732. That's the fastest lap so far in practice, and right now he's about dead even with that time on his Delta. Only down
For sure.
by 5 thousandths of a second. So that one corner can make the difference.
Absolutely. I mean, this is going to be a very close qualifying. I mean, I have a feeling that this is going to be probably one of the best we've seen all season. In fact, I want to draw to your attention real quick to 6th place Nick Mosley. What a lap thus far coming from the Legionnaires class. I mean, again, we have seen time and time again, Nick is one of the fastest drivers on course and is giving these Centurion class members a run for their money.
Yeah, exactly. Like yourself, actually, you performed really well compared to the Centurions class. You've had multiple finishes above most of the Centurions class, even. So give a little props to yourself, a little pat on the back. Speaking about how it's going to be a good qualifying session, Ricardo Rivera took the top spot again, a 126.527, improved by 0.2 over Cobra, and is currently improving by 100th of a second on this lap.
Now, I'm curious, actually, because I actually personally made some predictions regarding our pole laps. I'm wondering if this is just a case of Rivera running at race pace and, like, everybody's just tuning in their race setups, or if this is truly his qualifying pace, because from what I got data on, I had time frames for pole laps, especially in the Centurion class, as low as, if I pull up the data real quick, because I apparently have lost my notes, we'll get back on that. Oh, there we go, like, anywhere between 125.8 and 126.3, so potentially more time on the table to find, and for our Legionnaires, I normally like to predict it anywhere between, like, 2 to 2.5 seconds off alien pace. So my prediction for our Legionnaires pole lap, if Nick doesn't, it proves me otherwise wrong with his rapid pace, is going to be 126.5 to 127.2.
All right. So we got our predictions in. You guys go ahead and make your bets in the crowd watching tonight of which one it's going to be, or what part it's going to be in, you know. But as a driver yourself, bringing up, like, if you're running at race pace, do you run more of a race setup, heavier fuel, or do you go qualifying, light fuel? You're taking new tires a lot, trying to get that fine-tuned for qualifying. Or do you go for, like, more of a race setup, heavier fuel, to get a feel of how it's going to be during the majority of your driving?
Absolutely. You know, if anything, I think I mostly have focused solely on race setup, because if you really think about it, being fast in qualifying is all fine and good. But unless you're able to convert that when it really matters, that qualifying pace is useless. So, I mean, I've seen, for example, one of the fastest drivers in qualifying, especially in the Legionnaires class, my championship rival, Daniel Maderno, he is always really fast in qualifying, but we have seen on a couple of occasions where he has not been able to convert that incredible qualifying pace into good results in the races. So, and that is honestly may have hurt him as we've gone forward in the season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. See, as a driver myself, as a little amateur, I do some sim racing here and there, guys. In practice, I usually go for the race setup. And my reasoning is, A, it hides my pace from my competitors so they don't see my full potential in a way, so I can get more of a surprise attack during the race. And then it makes my qualifying look like I was pushing all out. So it looks like my race pace is going to be slower, when all in all, I'm pretty average with what I do in qualifying, by about maybe 0.2, 0.3 slower per lap during the race, just because of that extra fuel load.
As we go now close in with just 10 minutes left in free practice, not much time to really dial that in, but the mind games are beginning. Are these drivers kind of sandbagging and not really showing their full pace, or is this truly what we're going to see in qualifying? I'm very excited to see how this all plays out.
Yep, yeah, I am too. It should be a great race here. Like you said, very tight, very flowing circuit Donington Park is. When we hit that, KP goes wide there a bit. He's going to keep it on track and keep it clean, though. No accident. But as we wind down this practice session, we kind of, like you said, we got the dialed-in pace from these drivers, what we've seen so far. And we're looking, will they make the adjustment, that big improvement in qualifying, or even the race that comes after?
Yeah, if anything, I think one of the biggest dictations of this is have the drivers considered all factors. Like we've seen before. We have seen the unexpected rain come in qualifying. I believe what was that in? I believe it was race 3.
Yeah, race 3 in Barcelona. Yeah.
Yeah, Barcelona. As a driver, you gotta be ready for anything at this point. As we see, is that KP getting held up by the 731 of? I don't know who that is actually.
731 is Simon Bouderi, the Canadian driver.
Yes. Not sure if the KP was on a hot lap or how much I really heard him, as we do see him going into the pit lane, so backing off and potentially happy with the car, but we might see more drivers come out in the latter stages of pre-practice to get those last little bit of adjustments, last little bit of setup tuning optimized, and hopefully all factors considered. I mean, again, we don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, we might see a rainy qualifying that throws everything through. All predictions of pole laps out the window, all running orders and skill sets, it will be turned on its head. So perhaps it might be the case for a very entertaining Donington Park round 7.
Yes, it will be for sure entertaining. I can guarantee it. And you were mentioning tire wear at COTA a little bit earlier in the stream, as we see, who is that? That is Buderi behind Pino. But you were mentioning tire wear. How big is the tire wear affected at Donington Park from the driver's standpoint?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't been able to put too much time and effort into Donington practice. Otherwise, I would be actually racing this evening. But from what I understand, I mean, Donington is one of those very, very tire-demanding circuits. I mean, you're going to have as much grip as possible. Speaking of which, we do see a slide from Simon coming out of one of the hairpins.
Yeah, that was a bit of oversteer, is what I saw.
Oh, a little bit wide there, missing the apex. So again, grip, it does seem to be a very big factor in this pre-practice section, and might play a really big role in the race. So on the topic of tire wear, as we said, I mean, despite it being a 30-minute race, you do not want to push your luck too much with your tires. I mean, I have seen it before. People running as fast as they can would lose the tires in like 4 to 5 laps. I mean, for example, I mean, I used to do the same thing at like COTA. Whoa, that was a big slide.
Yeah, big slide from
front.
Yeah, indeed.
So, but yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things of you have to be so careful not to overheat your tires and overwork them in the early stages of the race, because you never know. I mean, your tires could go flat as lap 4, 5, 6, and then you're dealing with that for the rest of the race. Your pace is falling off, you're dropping positions, and you're going to lose precious points, especially on a race as critical as this one, with doubleheader, not as many points per race to be earned. People who are looking to move up those leaderboards, they gotta make it count, and they have to actually do more thinking than driving. And I think the reference I would think of, I think it was like Fernando Alonso that said it, like when he drives, it's like 80% thinking and 20% actually driving. So all our talented group of drivers are gonna have to do exactly that if they want to get the most out of this doubleheader.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry for getting close to the mic there. Had to check something on my phone. But one of the highest tire wear circuits is probably COTA, which we had last week for round 6.
Yes, for sure. I mean, one of the biggest things I remember when I was doing my practice sections was legit. Like, I would run the tires almost into the ground, and there it goes, 4 or 5 laps into my practice section. The car's literally undrivable. So, again, it's like, grip is going to be probably one of the biggest factors in this race, and I would love to see how that truly plays out. As we see, I think that Simon, did he go track limits maybe off of the previous turn while he backed off?
Yeah, I would probably agree so. Or maybe just wasn't feeling the lap. Talking about laps, Skylar Livnick comes in with the new fastest lap of practice, as you see him chilling in the pit lane right there, at number 52 Ferrari. It's a 125.977, double sevens at the end there, folks. So that is right in your right in the middle of your guess range for that Centuron pull, which is 125.8 to 126.3. So pretty much our top 3 drivers are right inside that gap. Levernick, like I said, with a 125.977, Rivera with a 126.385, and Gage Gonzalez just outside it with 126.427.
Yes, and perhaps maybe a third 7 would make him lucky for today's winning. So hopefully that will be a sign of things to come. But yeah, I mean, again, Skylar, the only person within that 125 range, goes to show, again, potentially yet another win on the table. And I think Skylar's actually coming off of 3 wins in a row, winning both doubleheader races on round 5 at Valencia, and in our previous race at COTA for the Centurions and the overall standings. So is this going to be win number 4 in a row for Skyler Lebanon.
Yeah, it very much might be. He's very quick, and he was absolutely dominating last week in COTA with a 30-second difference. Obviously, he did not have that 15-second competition penalty, so it's more about a 15-second gap to P2, but it's still a massive gap. And you yourself, you had a 13-second gap to the runners behind, so you were pretty dominant at COTA as well.
Yeah, I mean, I not to toot my own horn or anything, but yeah, I mean, the car felt great at COTA, and I mean, I was able to save the tires and be able to bring up a gap. And if anything, I mean, this might be the goal here, and it's such a short race, is like building that gap early, but not pushing the tires too much. And it's going to be a case of finding that healthy balance between speed and consistency and management in such a difficult and technical track, while on a very short and very quick race.
Yeah, and a very short lap as well. Like 130 or 125, sub 130 is not a very long lap time for our cars here.
Not one bit. If anything, I think that, to my knowledge, that's one of the shortest laps on the calendar this season.
Yeah, I believe you're correct with that, because we had Silverstone and Suzuka, both pretty long laps. And then we headed to Barcelona, which is very technical, which eats up a lot of time. And then after Barcelona, it was Kyalami, which Kyalami is very technical and long. It's like a little 2-for-1 deal. Round 5 was Valencia, which is very, very long. Not super technical, but just a long track. And then COTA, which is very long and technical, especially in that first sector with the S's.
For sure. I mean, very long races this season, so this might be something that the drivers are going to have to get used to, is like, this is going to be a very rapid and quick circuit, very quick laps, no room for error. Everyone's going to be on their toes this evening, and hopefully it will not throw off our very talented group this evening.
Yep, for sure. As practice is winding down, I gotta make a quick adjustment to the stream, so I'll put you guys on a little screen blocker real quick. As you can see, a beautiful ZRL logos with our sponsors right behind it. Shout out to SimGrid and Advanced Sim Racing. So thank you so much to those guys for sponsoring us. That allows us to do what we do best. But throughout the season, when have you? How come you've chosen the Mercedes over everything?
Well, honestly, it was because of some help from someone you may know. Christopher Larson, our reigning Centurion Series champion, won his last season in the Mercedes. So I was recently looking for a new car to drive. I was going through the paces with the Aston Martin, and I switched over to the Porsche, but just wasn't feeling like I was getting the most out of it. And then I was talking with Christopher one evening when he's the one who's actually got me into ZRL, and he said, maybe try out the Mercedes. And I'm like, maybe it might work for me. And so far, it seems to be working wonders for me. So very glad that I chose it for this season, despite it being a bit of a disadvantage throughout the season. I mean, a lot of these tracks actually, and I do believe the same goes to Donington, favor these rear-engine cars like the McLaren and the Ferraris, maybe the Lamborghinis as well. So definitely it was a challenge, but I think overall, I mean, seems like it's going well thus far. For sure, but everything can change here if it's depending on how things go well. I mean, we see here in the Legionnaires' point standings, I'm only leading, I believe, by I think it's 51 points over Daniel Moderno. So, if anything, I mean, anything can happen as long as he scores like 2 points. It's gonna go all the way to Indy as to who's gonna win this championship.
Yeah, it's almost like a little Yas Marino there in the AUE, where 2020 with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton being so close. If he puts on great performances in both these races, it could be a tie heading into that.
We will not speak of that day, now shall we? But anyways, off topic there, but still, yes, I mean, this is the way that we want to see ZRL being done. I mean, seriously, we want our drivers and our championship to be close and all the way down to the wire. As we now begin the critical qualifying, tell us about what we've got in store for us.
Well, we've definitely got a lot of close and compact racing today. We have a couple drivers going out to start their laps right now. and it should be great. Like you said, important as ever. It is qualifying here at Donington Park. Pretty tricky circuit to overtake. It can be done, but it's pretty tricky. It's not quite a Monaco tricky, but it is going to be important to good qualify here for both races.
100%, and with how quick and tight this is, and with very little time on the clock, it is going to be potentially 2 or 3 laps to get the job done. I mean, again, and we've seen before, like, lap times kind of going down the drain with track limits, going a bit wide in some places, misjudging corners, especially the difficult hairpins and chicanes. I mean, this is going to be critical, as we see. I think this is Nunez leading the way and getting things started for our qualifying.
Yep, the outlap should be starting, or should be finishing, and here in just a couple of corners, 2 hairpins to go, in a matter of fact. We're right on here with Jose Luis Nunez on his bonnet, and just see how it goes for him in his lap number 1.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go. Let's follow him through. We're going to come out of the last hairpin. You're wanting to get the power down as early as you can without some oversteer, but looks like you did pretty well here. Now into the very tricky turn 1. You want to go as wide as you can, near the pit lane, hard on the brakes, get that turn in, try to hit the apex a little bit wide there for Nunez, and gets a little slide, so that's going to hurt his lap a little bit. Now down the hill. Very quick Estes here. You want to be nice and conservative here, but be aggressive. And then now back up the hill. Very difficult corner here. Turn number 4, I believe this is. Get the exit on the power. Then a quick little kink to the left, and then up the hill here. You want to get another quick left, and then it's hard on the brakes into this very difficult, very challenging, very easy to misjudge corner at the top of the hill. Looks like you did pretty well here. Back up the hill. Another quick right-hand kink. Get on the power early, try not to oversteer. Looks like you did okay there. Now it's down, you can relax a little bit down this little straight until we get to one of the most difficult corners on the track. Here's the chicane. You're going to hit right between the boards, and get aggressive, tackle those curves, just like as Nunez did. Get on the power, and then it's down into the last 2 corners. Very tricky braking zone, very difficult to get right, easy to get wrong, and seems to do okay. A little bit wide there on the apex. Get on the power early. Power up to the last corner here. You want to get this right. This can make or break your lap. Get it in early. Hug that inside curb. On the power. Try not to oversteer. And there's your lap of Donington Park.
Yeah, for sure. A very tricky lap, as we can see, with some of the corners being over crests and braking hard over the crest, which is very, very tricky. Indeed, and we're taking a look at the fastest laps now as they come in, and it's going to be KP on top of the 127.3 for the first flying lap, for his first flying lap of qualifying. Nunez drops down to 3rd after Reed and KP overtake him.
For sure, and as we have talked about before, this is probably just on their outlaps, trying to get a good gap, and as we have trouble, it looks like, is that JP in the wall?
That is JP on the wall. He goes wide and smacks the wall through the gravel. That's not what he wanted to do for his first lap. He's going to get back there, back there as quick as he can, as this is a very short qualifying as we have the dual races.
Absolutely, he's going to only have like 1 more lap to get that done.
Yeah, he's going to have to hurry out on the outlap. Maybe not warm up the tires, maybe not warm up the brakes as perfect as he should. Ricardo Rivera has taken pole now with a 126.9 as his time, and Mosley jumps KP up into 2nd place overall, a 127.0.
Amazing work by Nick Mosley in that Ferrari. I mean, once again, proving that just despite being in the Legionnaires class, he is going to be throwing hands with some of the Centurion class this evening. It's going to be really interesting to see what he can do, and potentially, I wonder, could we potentially see our first Legionnaires class overall winner this season?
Maybe, you never know. There's 2 races, so there's a lot of opportunities for him to do so.
Crazier things have happened here, so it's going to be one to watch, folks. Do not miss a thing.
For sure, for sure. Skylar Levinek, one of the fastest drivers we have here in ZRL, is currently not even in the top 3. He's not having one of his better qualifying.
I'm actually going to have to correct you there. He just set the fastest lap of the session with a 126.1, I believe. Very
rapid. I spoke
rapid.
a bit too soon for everybody. 126.3, as you just said, and KP has moved up into P2 with the 126.65.
Absolutely. I mean, this is going to be potentially everyone's final lap or so if they don't get to the line. So we'll be seeing improvement. Maybe we'll see some 25s.
Yeah, maybe. Scar Levnick is currently a little bit above on the delta with improving by 1/1000th of a second and going wide there and over the curbs, and he's down a tenth now. Not a great
Who's
corner
that in
for
the
him.
grass there?
In the grass behind him, I'm pretty sure that was Ricardo Rivera.
No, I think that was fine. It looked like a red and white Ferrari. I don't know who that was.
I could not see that from my angle. We'll keep an eye out to see any for track limits violations.
Now, what I want to watch real quick is Gonzalez, who doesn't appear to have set an actual lap time here. He might be in trouble here and down in 18th. He's going to have to make something done and do something.
Yeah, looking at my broadcasting tool, he does not have a lap set in yet. He is improving, though, on his lap that he did either cut the track or not fully complete by about 3 seconds. So
I mean, it's going to be very close to the line here. I mean, again, and we do have a yellow flag. I believe it was it the 9 car?
It was the 9 of Toby Yao.
Yes, I wonder what happened there.
Maybe just a bit of oversteer. That's very potent here on this track. He does have a time in, though. It is the slowest out of everybody that has a time in so far. So not the great qualifying effort that he wanted. Anyways,
yeah, for sure.
Gage coming now to finish his lap and put in a time, and he shoots up on the leaderboard.
Much better. 26.5. Very solid lap time for Gage. He'll definitely be pleased with that. I'm not sure if he'll go for another lap, but doesn't appear to be too much traffic in front of him as long as he stays out of the way. Thankfully, it looks like it's JP and Nick Mosley in front of him, so he shouldn't be held up by any lap traffic. So this could be potentially a very critical lap for Gage and potentially an opportunity to take pole away.
Yeah, he went up to P3 after that lap, and as you can see, the max wait time is how long that we will wait after these drivers cross the line. So if you did not start a lap and you go to cross the line, your qualifying is over. Gage made it to the line before, and that's JP in the grass over there. But Gage made it across the line beforehand, so this lap will be the final lap that counts for him.
For sure. I mean, and Nick Mosley, once again, still holding strong in that top 5. Will he stay there?
Right now he's
no, he won't.
He just got moved down to 6th place, but he is improving by 1/2 tenth on this lap. Move that up to 1/10 as he hits it in the braking.
Can he make it into the 26s?
It's going to be close. He needs 0.07 of a second, and he's currently right below that on improvement.
Absolutely. Rivera goes to 4th place, and that's it.
And that's it. That's it. He goes wide.
Corner.
Yeah.
Very disappointing. That might play very, very poorly in his hands going into the race. Being down, and Gage improves again with a 26.2, just 0.3 off the lead. But once again, Skyler absolutely crushing it in qualifying, and the only person once again in the 25s.
Let's go ahead and take a look at that rundown now. As you see on screen, Skyler Lermanick takes pole, and the rest of the podium for the Centurons class is Gage Gonzalez in that McLaren and KP in that Honda NSX.
Look at that.
Very, very close.
That. Nick Mosley with the fastest first sector out of anybody. That is amazing work from him.
Yeah, a 19-second first sector. It's not even close. Nobody else has even scratched 19 at 19.9. So obviously not too far away from a 22nd, but a great first sector for him. He takes
Someone
the
must have
pole
been
spot.
practicing.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's getting the best out of his opportunity tonight. So he is the first in the Legionnaires class, and following up in P2 is going to be Daniel Moderno, your championship rival. What are your thoughts on that, Kyle?
Well, I mean, not surprised. Daniel's been fast all season, but normally he's been up with where Nick has been. I mean, it's a bit interesting to see how close it actually is between him and Flores. Actually, I mean, it's not even a couple thousandths of a second separating those two in qualifying. So that might be a battle to watch, folks, if we were looking into the Legionnaires fight. As for our Centurions fight, Skyler will definitely be the one to watch and probably my pick to win it all. But how about some of the closer battles? I mean, we got Rivera and Portis pretty close on pace, just a 10th off of each other. Some more interesting fights kind of down more below, I believe. Not seeing anything in particular. Anything catching your eye?
Nothing really too much. Obviously, Flores rounds out the top 3 for the Legionnaires class. But I'm not Jimmy, not having a great qualifying performance. He is last for anybody that got the time in for the Centurions class.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it means pretty surprised. In fact, rather small field today. Only 24 people in this first race.
Yeah, we usually have upwards of 30s, maybe even high 30s.
Very interesting. I wonder if that will play a factor in terms of points results and other major factors as we're about ready to get set for our first race. In fact, I actually just realized it is not a 50, a 30-minute race as I thought. It is just 20 minutes, folks. So again, I mean, one
30
mistake
seconds.
and that's it. You might be out of this race and out of the points. So very critical race coming up, and there's one that you're not going to want to miss. So stick around, folks.
You're not going to want to miss it for a second here, as we have just about 15 seconds before we start our outlap, or some people like to call it the formation lap. I just call it outlap. Seems simple enough, and it's the same as you do for a qualifying outlap.
Believe me, no one's ever in formation on the formation lap. We're all over the place out there, and the people overtaking each other, ghosting through each other. So I kind of agree with you on that one, my friend.
Yeah. So what's the most important thing that you take heart to heart during this formation lap or outlap?
You know, it's getting in the zone. Just relax. Don't overthink things. Just clear your mind. You do not want to overthink things. You don't want to get yourself stressed out because, believe me, turn one woes is real, and especially here in Donington, you're going to have to be on your A game to avoid any first lap wrecks on such a tight technical circuit with very little room for error and such an important race as this one. It has, in fact, for anybody who's watching after this, I would love to see how many times I have said that this is going to be an important race, and if anyone's keeping count, please do, because believe me, I have said it a lot. So, and I can't stress it enough for these drivers, and I'm sure all of those guys are knowing it too. But like I said, they don't want that thought to get in their head and mess them up and mess up the rhythm. They want to just clear the head, stay calm, and just get in the zone, because all they need to do is drive a car and make it to the finish and score as much points as possible.
So you kind of go to the simplistic approach. You try and simplify everything as much as you can and just prepare for that turn one approach.
Absolutely. Go to your happy place, in the words of Happy Gilmore, one of my favorite movies. So go to your happy place, just get in the zone, stay calm, deep breaths. You got this.
Yeah.
All that goes through my head. Nothing
Happy
else,
Gilmore.
nothing more.
Happy Gilmore said it best. He's a great movie, by the way. So as we head down into this Sector 3 of this outlap, the guys warm up their tires, their brakes, everything getting it perfect. What would you say is the most important aspect in this race? Is it the drafting, the slipstream? Is it going to be the braking points, or is it going to be the corner exits or entries? What do you think is going to be most important here at Donington?
Well, I definitely think corner entries and exits are going to be very critical, and keeping that car on track is going to be absolutely the way to go. You want to make sure on a very tight circuit like this that you are absolutely on the ball with your consistency and putting in lap times, even if it's not the fastest, as long as you're keeping it on track and not ending up 5 feet off the track in the grass or worse, in the wall, Suzuka. We can actually... You'll be able to be in the best results. As we see, our cars going double file now. We are just 2 corners away for this next round, round 7 of the ZRL Championship, as we are getting set for our first race of our doubleheader.
Yes, we are getting ready indeed. They're going to come around the final corner in about 5 seconds time. Let's count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I may have sped up a little bit there. Look at my timing is perfect, always. Anyways, we're waiting for this green flag to drop here. What was that? What was that?
Nothing. As we go ahead, we're watching for those lights. Yeah, we're watching the flag stand, and we are green.
Green.
Donington.
And they're off down into turn 1. Last time we had a hairpin turn 1, it was chaos at the backside of the field. It was COTA. Right now, it seems to be pretty clean.
Yes, for sure. We saw 3 wide through there. Hopefully everyone's going to make it work. It seems like everybody thus far looks to be making it clean.
Yeah, it looks pretty clean throughout the field for me. Maybe Nick going a bit wide there, but that's about it.
Absolutely, this mid-pack seems a little squirrely as we see. Oh, what was that? Was that any contact back there? Someone had to check up real bad through there.
Oh, and there goes. Oh, who is that? That is.
Is that new?
That is the 22 of Martin Alberts. Let's take a look at that replay.
Absolutely, that seems like a whole bunch of a mess there. In fact, multiple drivers seem to be having problems back there.
Oh, you see the checkup.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking as before we went there, and he's trying to recover and just loses the rear.
Yeah, indeed. We had contact before that, too, between Lucas Dykstra and the number 1 car of Kevin Kapelke. Let's take a look at that. This is multi-class incidents here. This is into turn 1, indeed.
Looks like he almost checked up, and, like, yeah, that was a huge hit from the Audi. I'm surprised nothing else came about from that.
Oh, and that's Toby Yao going wide.
Toby Yao, that one of the fastest people in the Legionnaires class, having trouble, our reigning Legionnaires champion.
Yeah, he gets it back under control, though, and continues the race. And the final piece of contact that we had from lap 1 is between the number 918 car, Luis Nunez, and the number 29 of Matthew Reed. Let's take a look at this replay.
Absolutely. In fact, yeah, I mean, looks like a dive bomb into the chicane. That's never going to work.
Oh, and it's just a pileup, almost like a NASCAR accident when somebody spins in the backstretch.
Yeah, and was that JP in trouble there?
JP, yeah, he was involved for sure.
Innocent bystander. Once again, JP, we have seen that quite a bit this season, unfortunately, for him. I mean, it's just wrong place, wrong time once again.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's racing, though, at the same time. He's recovered pretty well. He's in 18th place, not where he wants to be, but he can improve, and he will throughout this race, as he looks like he's going to go for a move very soon on the car ahead, which is Alves.
Absolutely. In fact, let's go ahead, and after we get to see this move, as JP makes the move happen, let's take a look at what looks like up front with our leaders. I'm sure it's very tight up there.
Yes, it is, and Sean Collins is wide.
Yeah, Sean Collins, been very fast in the forefront, just having trouble keeping it on track. Again, that's going to be critical. Pit window open.
Yeah, open very quick. As you know, it is that shorter sprint race format here. Ricardo Rivera has the fastest lap with 131.8. He's behind Skylar Levenick by about half a second. KP, though, having to defend by Nick Mosley, the gap 0.3 of a second.
Nick Mosley, I tell you what, man, he is absolutely rapid here and challenging those top runners. So here's the thing, are we going to see any early takers going into the pits early, taking tires, getting out of the chaos, and trying to make up time in clear air? That might be the strategy for some of these below runners that, like, for example, I think JP, who's involved in that early wreck, could take advantage of that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It all depends on how much you feel.
And we do have takers. Who is that in the pit?
That is Nunez, Collis, and Shim. Those three.
Shim.
Oh, add Kapelke to the list as well. Those 4 are all in the pits right now. Getting that stop done as soon as possible. Maybe went really light on the fuel load and just got it done as quick as possible. Skylar Levenick has taken the fastest lap now with a 126.445. Mosley, though, is still hanging on at that 0.3 of a second gap. Let's take a look from inside his car to see how it looks. Looks like he's pretty close heading into this chicane. Very close. He uses those curbs for rotation almost perfectly from what I can see. Any input on that, Kyle?
Absolutely. I mean, Nick's definitely one of the most aggressive. Oh, is that KP going? Or excuse me, yeah, KP going a bit wide through there, the first hairpin.
That is where it looked to be.
Opportunity to close.
That is what it looked to be. The gap stays
that
about 0.3 of a second.
Multiple cars involved.
Multiple yellows down in the back of the field. Let's see what that's about. Is Lucas Dykstra one of the ones involved?
Absolutely, and was that one of our takers in the pits? And that's Toby Yao off again.
Yeah, it's getting crazy back here. Let's go and look at the race log and see what I can find. I find contact between the Toby Yao and Christian Dude. Let's take a look at this replay.
For sure. Do you think that was maybe the cause of this wreck? Is this in their dive bomb in the chicane?
It seems to be, but
oh my goodness.
I don't know how Lucas Dykstra got involved. We'll see if we can find that.
Yeah, oh, that's Toby Yao going in, as he should, honestly. That was a huge hit from the Mercedes going into the chicane there. Did he just get his braking point wrong?
Maybe, honestly. Just could have thrown him off a little bit, and then obviously that damage could play a big factor. So he wants to get that fixed as quickly as he can to get that fight, bring that fight right back. I could not find anything on why Dykstra went off. Maybe he just made a mistake.
Perhaps so. I mean, if maybe he just went a bit wide and he was just one of the causes of the yellows there. As we see, again, Skylar with a good lead over Rivera, but Rivera is still not keeping with him in just over a second.
Yeah, the gap is exactly 1 second right now, is what I can see from my broadcasting tool. Mosley hanging within half a second of KP now. KP's pulling away slightly. He is faster in what seems to be Sector 2.
I'm sure KP is thinking right now, man, why didn't we not promote Mosley earlier?
Yeah, I say the same thing about you a lot during these races as well.
No comment.
don't want to overbrag. Flores is also closing that gap to Bulgaria ahead in the Lamborghini versus McLaren battle.
Yeah, in fact, let's actually touch upon this. Actually, despite there not being a lot of time in these races, lap traffic coming up for Skyler. This could very much play in the hands of Rivera behind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with all these yellow flags, all these incidents on track, everybody that pitted early, it's a big opportunity for lap traffic to make an effect on this race. And speaking of making an effect, Nick Mosley is back in that 0.3 of a second gap to KP. I'm telling you, it's that first sector. He's absolutely rapid.
Yeah, I don't know what it is that Nick's doing different from KP. Maybe we should stick with him and see what he's doing on here as we go on board here with Nick Mosley in the Ferrari. We'll join him here in the chicane here. Looks like, ooh, a little bobble there from Nick. Maybe some oversteer. Misjudged his turning point a bit wrong. That will give KP a little bit more room to breathe as we go into these next hairpin.
Yeah, it seemed just like a little bit of snap of oversteer, maybe an over adjustment that followed, so he had to slam on the brakes to try and recover the car. He does recover with no accident or injury to the car, but the gap is growing bigger now to 0.7 of a second.
Absolutely. If anything, just a quick update on the leaders. I will definitely say, if I was in Skyler's position or Rivera's position, I'm planning to do the opposite of what the other's doing. If Skyler pits, if I'm Rivera with lap traffic coming up, I am diving in the pits right down this next lap.
Yeah, and you can see this lap traffic is right ahead of him in that car number 135.
Ooh, Skyler with not the best exit. Here comes Rivera on the outside. Can he make the move on as we go into the uphill? One more difficult thing, he will clear Skyler.
Yeah, he clears Alves, the lap traffic, and we have the yellow flag ahead. That is number 53 car. Looks like he's spun off. That is Rodman Jr.
Rodman Jr., yeah, I don't know what happened there. Was there contact, maybe a little bit of help here? He'll be
not
right in
that
the
I
middle.
can see.
He'll be right in the middle of the battle between Mosley and KP here, so it might be very interesting to watch here and see how that battle plays out.
Yes, for sure. Mosley, once again, 0.6 of a second away, closing that gap. I'm telling you, that first sector has got to be where it is because KP pulls away in the third sector. But this is an absolute mess of last traffic over here. Two cars. KP's going to try and overtake one. Mosley goes way deep, and there's almost contact.
Very close there. Honestly, if I was Nick here, pit right now, and get out of that traffic. I mean, that is not where you want to be.
It's not prime for overtaking too.
Do we have any takers in the pits right now?
It's KP. KP is in the pits.
AP pits from third place. This is a critical stop here. He's going to try to overcut Nick Mosley, I do believe, if I'm getting that correct.
Yes, he is. He's trying to do the undercut on him. Mosley will try and go for the overcut after.
Absolutely. All right. So as we see here, Rivera, the team have lost the lead again from Skyler.
Yeah, Skyler just doing a little bit better through the lap traffic. That gap has exceeded to 3 seconds now.
I mean, he dropped back a ton. Did Rivera make a mistake somewhere?
Maybe a little snap of oversteer. I can't see any contact from my race control, so maybe
very
just a
interesting.
mistake.
Perhaps maybe that was, like I said, maybe he should have pit. Maybe lap traffic kind of hurt him there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Obviously, now he's got a little bit of breathing room, so I would stay out. But the drivers
now, if I was
not yet to
sorry,
pit.
go ahead.
The drivers not yet to pit are Lovernick, Rivera, Sharpenberry, and Buderi. That's your top 5 that have not pitted yet.
Now, honestly, if I'm Levernick right now, this is the lap I need to pit. Because, honestly, you have lap traffic ahead of you. You got the largest gap you can on Rivera here. This is the time to pit and take advantage of that gap and try to push like hell to get back in front of him.
I couldn't agree more. Remember, refueling. Oh, there's JP blocking the pit lane. But Skyler's going to dive in anyways.
Fantastic. Oh, and he makes it to the pit lane. That's amazing heads-up driving from Levernick. And now in the pits, he will try to take advantage of that, and I think... In fact, Rivera's right behind him.
He follows him in. Like a caboose on a choo-choo train. Follows him right back in, ladies and gentlemen. That will give... Oh, but Mosley also pits. That gives... That's going to give Sharpenberry the lead. Richard McSharpenberry has the lead.
Yeah, interesting choice from Nick. I don't know about that one. But, I mean, maybe it's lap traffic that he was thinking of again. And honestly, actually, what I now just realized, he's trying to cover off for KP. to make sure that that overcut does not work for him. So
Yeah.
this will be very critical to watch. If we tune into KP coming through the hairpins here, very short pit lane here at Donington. So not much to really worry about here, but let's see how that battle plays out between Mosley and KP.
Mosley is still sitting still in the pit lane getting those tires done. KP is coming and gaining on him closely. As he's passing the pit lane now, it looks like he's going to have him.
And did Rivera overtake Skyler in the pit lane there?
He did not. He is actually behind Skyler. Actually, no, you are correct. He did overtake Skyler. It is not updated on my screen yet. It just refreshed as they cross Sector 1, but he did. Did Skyler misjudge his braking points, and Skyler goes wide there?
Perhaps so. Incredible work by Rivera's pit crew there to get him out ahead of Skyler. This is going to be the race for the win.
Yeah, we'll keep on it definitely for the last 8 minutes of this race. Already under 10 minutes to go, already under half the race. The leader currently still stands Richard McSharpenberry, who he goes to pit now.
Absolutely. Yeah, he needs a rapid stop to get this done. And I think, who's that falling behind him? Multiple cars falling behind him here.
Berry and Moderno follow behind him.
Moderno, this is critical for him if he wants to maximize his points here and earn some good ones on the championship. He's got to make this stop count.
He really does. That's going to inherit the lead to Christian Dube. Dube takes the lead now in that Mercedes.
Dube looks like he's going to go long here and pit at the very last minute, but I don't know about that. I mean, fresher tires behind. I don't think you want to go long here, especially on a sprint race. You're going to be losing a lot of time, and that front-engine Mercedes is not the best here at Donington. As we see trouble for, is that Juan Alvarez again?
That is Juan Alvarez again in that number 135 McLaren. I can't see any contact popping up on race control, so a self-spin there.
Yeah.
Lucas Dykstra going wide ahead. Maybe I might be corrected there. Maybe just hasn't refreshed yet, but nothing's coming in. Maybe they both had separate mistakes.
Yeah, disappointing races from the two of them. They've been involved in quite a bit of incidents today, and whether it be off tracks or incidents that have been done at the beginning of the race. Definitely a sprint race they will definitely want to forget about and move on to race 2 with a fresh mind.
Yeah, for sure. And Levernick now only the gap of 0.3 of a second to Ricardo Rivera ahead.
Skyler,
you can see him looming in.
Yes, I mean, Skyler seems to have the faster car overall here, so it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. This is the race for the win, folks, with just 6 minutes, just over 6 minutes left in this race. These are the two to watch.
Almost looked like Skyler went for a move there, the way he darted off to the right there during the braking.
Absolutely, he's got to be very, very careful not to go overdo it here, because any contact that will be very, very costly, especially in a Stewart's perspective. Both of them missing the apex there. They're pushing rapid here, man. Nothing left on the table.
Absolutely burning these tires. We have very little time left to go. Do you think he gets this overtake done in the next couple of laps?
For sure, as we do see Dube actually go into the pits here, so he will be dropping back the order, and it's now just Rivera and Levernick for the win.
Behind them is KP, so he has covered off the undercut from Mosley quite well. The gap 5, almost 6 seconds.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what happened with Mosley on his stop, but perhaps maybe just either an incredible pit stop by KP's crew, or perhaps Mosley just did not judge it quite right and made a mistake on the pit entry.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, Skyler Levernick going to be overshot his braking box or his pit box. That could have been the same for Nick Mosley as well.
Absolutely. So what's going to be good news for Levernick and Rivera is that there's no lap traffic ahead. So it's just 101 for the win. No external factors. Let the best driver win. Here we go, folks. 5 minutes left. Let's see how this plays out.
Getting right up on the bumper of Ricardo Rivera. The gap maybe 2 centimeters at max.
Absolutely. I mean, this is so close. I mean, I am just holding my breath here, hoping that these guys race cleanly to the end, but I guarantee it, we're going to be seeing some drama on this, as this race has shown. Plenty of drama, plenty of chaos. There's bound to be just one more incredible event left in this sprint race.
This would be a great win for Ricardo Rivera, as he would have his second win on the season in this race, and Skyler Levernick is going for his 4th in a row, but holding him off and increasing that lead might help him win the championship as he currently sits in 1st place. A driver from Puerto Rico.
A championship leader versus the challenger, and what is probably pulling a mock Max Verstappen as of late.
Yeah.
Skyler absolutely on a tear, trying everything he can to find time in that car and trying to get. Is that Rivera going slightly wide there? That's going to allow Skyler to close up here on a very critical part of the track. Here he comes, long straight here, so he's going to get the slipstream. Will he go for a big dive here in the chicane?
No, he's going to sit behind and try and get him probably into one of these hairpins, which would be my guess, and that's where I would go for the move personally. Those are probably one of the best overtaking zones on the track.
Absolutely, and let's actually point out here, there's going to be probably like 2 or 3 laps to go, and they are catching lap traffic here, unlike what I said before. This might be a very interesting end to this first sprint race.
Yes, for sure. That lap traffic comes in the form of Juan Alves and Toby Yao.
Absolutely, those. Oh,
who
like
is that?
trouble here.
There is drama.
Was
That is Alberts
yeah, Alberts again.
and Fender and Matt Fender.
Matt Fender. We haven't heard his name too often here this race, so wonder what happened there. Do we have any evidence of contact, perhaps?
We do indeed. Let's go and take a look from Mark Alberts' point of view.
Oh, very.
Oh, it's the
dive
snap
deep
of
into
oversteer, and that's what puts him around.
And once again, was that JP again, almost getting involved in a wreck?
He has been the unluckiest guy today. I'll tell you what. He's been involved in multiple accidents as just a bystander.
Pit window is now closed.
Pit window closes as we have about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this race. Skyler Levick is almost side by side, and he is side by side with Ricardo Rivera. This is for the lead heading into the chicane.
If he's got to make a move, he's got to go for it here. But I think Rivera doing very well to park it right there, closing off the gap. Skyler's going to back off.
Yeah, a beautiful defensive move there by Rivera, holding the inside line. The really only one that works well through that chicane.
Absolutely. I mean, that we've seen before, very critical. In fact, Skyler, a bit of a later entry there, trying to maximize that corner exit speed, but Rivera parks it there, and we do have a yellow flag, I believe, towards the top of the racetrack. Who is that?
That is the number 6 of your rival, Moderna.
Moderna! That's going to be huge for the championship, and that's going to potentially be critical points off of his docket. I mean, that's not good at all for him.
Yeah,
is that hit up front? No, that looks like just kicking up in the dust.
Yes. He is now currently sitting 4th place overall, or 5th place overall. In the Legionnaire standings.
Right, and I do believe, if I remember correctly, are the points separated for each class, I do believe?
They are indeed, yes.
Okay, that's good. So that's good news for Moderna overall. So currently, as it runs, he'll be earning around 16 points for his finishing position here, which will put him, if I do some quick maths here.
I'm never good at those.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not gonna even try. Well, stay in school, friends.
Man, you just moved into school.
Yes, I did, in fact. Goes to show that got freshen up on my quick maths, that's for sure. Anyways,
yeah,
memes aside, as we look again, Lovernick all over the back of Rivera. This is going to be the potentially final lap. Going to the outside here, trying to do the crossover. He's going to get a good exit. Is this going to be the move?
No, Rivera gets a great exit out of that corner.
Absolutely, and lap traffic not involved with, thankfully. It's going to be 1 lap to go. Yellow flag. It looks like the S is. Who's that? Is that the 16?
It is Matt Fender, the 16 car. You are correct.
The leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
All right. I mean, that might play a role in this. I don't think he's going to be a problem with their leaders. Ooh, Skyler really late on the brakes there. Had to check up even more than he wanted to, but he's getting a great exit here. This is it. This has got to be the move right here.
This is the final lap of the race. The gap is 1/10 of a second. It doesn't get any closer than that. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to go for it up the inside.
Sends it in. Huge move. Yeah, he makes it work. What a move from Skyler Levick.
The aggression was there. The commitment.
4 in a row still alive, but Rivera, we know how fast and aggressive he is. He is not going to give that up so easily.
You can see him going as wide as he possibly can and stay within the track limits, trying to get that gap close. The gap, though, is just about half a second. He cannot get a good exit as Skyler sent it up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Skyler's just skipping away now. I mean, this is it. I think he's got it.
I couldn't agree more here. Is that it's chicane for the last time in race number 1. The gap 7/10.
That's it, folks. I mean, unless something really drastic happens in these last 2 corners, we're going to see Skylar Lubnick 4 race wins in a row. What an impressive performance from him as of late.
Yeah, here he comes on the final corner. We have a close gap between Kapelke and I'm Not Jimmy ahead. As you can see them looming right there on the right of your screen going down to the hairpins. Skylar Lubnick, first place in race number 1. 4 in a row for him.
Finished the race.
Absolute domination as of late from Skylar Lubnick. As we look back here, another battle here. I don't know, is this Kevin and who else?
Kevin and I'm Not Jimmy. This is for 5th place overall.
Absolutely, and by the way, Nick Mosley, 4th place, will win for the Legionnaires class in race number 1. Well done for him. An impressive 4th place overall. What a performance from Nick Mosley.
Yes, indeed. Gage Gonzalez comes across saying the fastest lap of the race, so he'll get some extra points for that.
Bingo. Nicely done from Gage Gonzalez. That point could be critical for him.
Daniel Moderna finishes behind Shim, so the podium for the Legionnaires class is 1st place Nick Mosley, 2nd place Buderi, and 4th place Flores. Or
Absolutely.
3rd place Flores, my apologies.
No worries. In fact, I mean, that's going to be something that Moderna might be, hopefully he's got to put that behind him. I mean, at this moment in time, I mean, he's lost some points, lost some potential to try to close the gap in the Legionnaires Championship. But all he needs to do now is just stay calm, recognize there's another race coming up, and trying to make the most of that and earn as many points as he can, so he can close the gap as much as he can to yours truly going into Indy.
Yeah, yes, for sure. Close race will be guaranteed between you and him for sure.
I am looking forward to it.
That's the final race crossing line in the form of a Lenny Dyke show. Let's go ahead and take a look at your standings in this race. In 1st place overall and 1st place in the Centurions class, it's Skylar Levernick. 2nd place overall, Ricardo Rivera. 3rd place, KP. A great race from him. He did not start off great, dropping a couple spots on the race start, but built his way back up with that strategy to get 3rd place overall. Not a bad showing.
Absolutely, holding off Nick Mosley in 4th place. He will win once again for our Legionnaires class, followed by I'm Not Jimmy and Kapelke in the McLaren in 6th. Mick Sharpberry. Who's that again? I'm honestly losing the plot this evening, but 8th place goes to the 731 McLaren. That is who again?
Buderi.
Buderi, thank you, and I do apologize to Mr. Buderi for butchering their name, I'm sure. But anyways, fastest lap goes to 9th place Gonzalez, and Carlos Flores will round out your top 10.
Yeah, and that top 3 for this Legionnaires class, we've gone over it a couple times, but it's Nick Mosley, 1st place, Simon Buderi in 2nd, and 3rd place, rounds it out, is Carlos Flores. Carlos Flores, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, now here, time the intermission between the next free practice section. What have the drivers learned here? Are they going to make any adjustments here for the next practice session? Take advantage of that time? Well, in fact, actually, no. They're going to be doing that probably within the little bit of time they have left, just to go through the pits, go through their setups, and get ready for qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. The first driver out the pits, it looks like it's going to be... Oh, remember, this is just a quick free practice session. There's not really any chance for real laps here. It's just a minute long.
If I remember correctly, are we not supposed to? Oh, and we do see the cars going back to their slots, so that's good news. So I don't remember if there's any penalties associated to that or any consequences for going out in that intermission period. Thinking LFM here, I think. But anyhow, about 15 seconds left. Tell me what do you think? What these drivers are thinking about just going through what they've just went through in the first race and getting ready for this next qualifying session and race 2. What do you think?
The 3 words, all the same. Improve, improve, improve. Improve your lap times, improve your pit stop times, improve your strategy, improve your setup. Make it as best as you can, as fast as you can, and you got to do that adjustments quickly.
Well said, my friend. As we go ahead and the qualifying 2 begins, as we see who's not leading the way, the number 918, and once again, Nunez first out of the pits and leading the way for our second qualifying session.
Yeah, he's a pretty quick guy out the pits. He likes to get in the most laps possible, which could obviously come into to help him there for sure.
For sure. So once again, are we going to see Skylar taking pole here for the next one? In fact, let's make this a bit notable. The track is a lot warmer than our first qualifying session, and yellow flags already. Who's that in trouble?
It is Nunez. He's pulling off into the pit lane. Maybe didn't like something that he had in the setup. Going to make a quick adjustments here.
Looked like the 297 as well was off track there. I don't know who that was.
The 297. That I do not know who that is at the moment. We'll go ahead and look at that later.
Maybe the 296. I don't know. It's difficult to see over Discord at the moment.
Yeah, the 296 is Richard McShockmare, who's just coming out of the pit lane. So I believe you're correct with the 296 judgment there.
Must have maybe went off track on the out lap, or maybe didn't, and maybe had the wrong setup and just had to make a quick adjustment. Anyways, we see Papa Shim now on track in the Lexus. And I'll tell you what, that Lexus, it's been mighty impressive all season long, and taking a bit of an unconventional approach to things, but tell you what, it's been amazing to see the representation on track, and honestly doing pretty well this season.
Yeah.
Sitting, I believe, in the standings of the Legionnaires class, but if I take a look real quick, yeah, Shim just outside the top 3 in overall in points, and not too far off of Carlos Flores in 3rd, so we could see Alexis on the podium in points. How impressive would that be?
It would be very impressive, especially the fact that he has missed a race due to him having a child.
Yeah, congratulations once again to Alex Shim. I mean, new father. I'm very happy for him, and I'm wishing him and his family well as they go into the next very exciting chapter of their lives.
Yeah, very exciting and very stressful, but all good things are hard work. It's just how it is. Being good at sim racing, you gotta work hard. Being good at any sport or anything in life, you gotta work hard for, and the rewards usually pay off.
And definitely say the same about college. And once again, it'll be very interesting as we see. Looks like Skylar kicking up some dirt there in the chicane here. He's pushing hard on this out lap, or is he on a flyer?
He is on a flyer, I believe, but is that track limits maybe from what you saw?
Yeah, you know, honestly, I would be questioning that if I was the stewards here. So we'll just have to see if it goes up on the board. And looks like he's backed off, actually, trying to get the exit. So I do believe that was track limits. He's backed off on the wide entry to try to maximize his next lap.
Yeah, that's probably a smarter move here from him as we see the results coming in now.
Despite the mistake, 26.8.
Yeah.
I mean, that is amazing.
That is
goes to show
absolute
just
blistering pace.
Absolutely. I mean, just goes to show just how dominant Skylar Levernick has been all weekend long. As we do see our first flying lap, and our net pole position right now goes to Gage Gonzalez with a 26.777. There's your 3.7. Perhaps this is a sign of lucky.
I'm not in Vegas right now, man. I need that when I'm in Vegas for sure. All right.
Absolutely.
Coming into second, though, is Ricardo Rivera, who we saw finish P2 in the last race. Goes a bit wide there in turn 1. Third place, I'm Not Jimmy. Fourth place, Christian Dube. In fifth place, Flores. Or now Reed jumps up in fifth place after finishing his lap.
Absolutely. Reed has been kind of midfield right now, but hopefully that time will stand well and keep him there up in that top 5 as he does lose the position. Who was that? Who's in 5th place now?
That is Christian Dube now in 5th place, but it's not him who jumped. It was KP who jumped up and knocked all of them down a notch.
AP once again putting that Honda where it belongs all season long. Very rapid and very consistent overall is KP. As we look here, if I remind myself of the standings, KP, I believe, is just outside that podium spot and actually tied with the 34 of Albner Pena.
Yeah, and talk about consistency. KP, 5th place, 7th place, 7th place again, then makes a jump up to P2, then 5th place and 4th place, and then 6th place in the lap race. He's been right around 5th place in every single race. Great consistency from him, and that's one of the keys to why he's doing so well this year in the championship, or this season.
100%. I mean, honestly, I mean, keep that car in the top 5, and you're going to do pretty well here at ZRL. So that's for certain. As we go ahead and see, I think Gage Gonzalez does lose the top spot. I do believe, I want to predict that was from Skylar, correct?
No, that is incorrect. That is from Ricardo Rivera now.
Ricardo Rivera putting up a good time, just over the 26 mark with a 26.0 1.7, and will we see him improve and potentially finally challenge Skylar in the 25s?
Maybe, but Skylar Levernick has not yet set a lap time, so maybe track limits again in the second one. Might be trying to push too hard, but he's got to get this lap in this time, or he might not even get a lap in at all, which could throw him into the back of the field, having to overtake so many cars. I don't think he'll be able to get the win from the back.
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, we'll have to see how Skylar handles this. I mean, this will be, after this one, more than likely his final lap, so he's gonna have to make this count if he wants the challenge for now 5 race wins in a row, which is absolutely insane work by Skylar Levernick. As he comes around the final corner, nicely done, hits that wide apex, crosses the line, and he will take pole position here with, I cannot quite tell what the time is.
There's a 126.215 for Skylar Levernick, up by 0.5 of a second to Ricardo Rivera behind.
Absolutely rapid. Absolutely rapid. Yes, absolutely. As we do see Gage, is he improving at all as he's coming through the last couple hairpins?
No, that was a cooldown lap for him, so he's getting ready to go right now.
We'll have Nick Mosley running, and once again, very well, in fact, 6th place overall in front of him. Hopefully he will not be held up too much by him, but I doubt that very much. Nick Mosley, absolutely amazing work this race weekend, and one to watch, as we do see a yellow flag, I believe, coming on the front straight. I believe that was just someone pulling off to the side to finish their laps. But as we go here, last 6 seconds left in qualifying. These are the laps that are going to count, folks.
These are indeed. And Nick is improving up by 0.3 of a second, and that is Nunez pulling off to finish his lap. Mosley improving by 0.3 of a second here as he rounds out Sector 2 with one more corner to go.
Tell you what, I mean, Nick Mosley, could we see a top 5 start again for him? I mean, this has been very impressive overall.
It has for sure, and it's looking to be all he needs to gain 1 position, and the gap he needs to gain is 0.005 of a second, and he has that more.
Come on, Nick, make this work, man. You know you got it. As we do see some yellow flags, I believe that's just people pulling off.
I believe you're correct.
All right, so anyways, Nick, no traffic in front of him, which is a great thing. Amazing job by all these drivers to actually keep out traffic during qualifying. I'm very impressed. We've seen the woes of traffic on some of the other circuits, but a small circuit like this one, as we do see someone in the wall, I think. Who is that coming out of the chicane?
Number 20 of Shim.
Yeah, in the wall there. Must have been pushing just that little bit too hard. And Nick, where did he end up? He does not improve, so something must have happened.
I believe it was in that second to last hairpin. He broke a bit late, went a bit deep.
Oh man, unfortunate for Nick. Once again, just not quite being able to close out a great lap, and could cost him once again.
Yeah, JP Bellinger does not improve as well as he went wide there, and that's going to be the last driver to cross the line.
Absolutely. In fact, let's take a look here at our starting lineup here. Once again, Skylar and Rivera and Gonzalez, your top 3 drivers. They have been pretty dominant overall here. And how about Nunez in the 4th spot in that 918 Mercedes? Very impressive job from him.
Indeed. I'm Not Jimmy follows up in 5th place, and Christian Dubin 6th. And then it's the pole position for the Legionnaires class. It is Nick Mosley once again.
No surprise there. As we continue down, KP will be starting 8th, a little bit farther behind than what you wanted, I'm sure. And then Reed will come up in 9th, and rounding up your top 10 will be Mick Sharpberry in that Ferrari. Next will be your 2nd place Legionnaire, Flores, and then right behind him will be JP Bellinger. Again, I'm losing the plot again. I am very sorry. I'm going to have to probably hang up the headset for this. My memory is failing me.
Yeah, it's Simon Buderi in 13th.
Buderi. You know, Simon, I tell you what, man, I'm probably going to owe you the biggest apology after this. Anywho, Alberts will be in your 14th spot. Moderno, 15th on the grid and behind a lot of Legionnaire drivers. That could very much play a factor. And then very quick behind him is Papa Shim in that Lexus. Will that cause him problems? And hopefully not, because I mean this is going to be a critical race for him. He needs to earn as many points as he can, because we head next week into our season finale in Indy.
Yeah, indeed. Like I said, he skipped that one race due to the child labor or childbirth. So he needs to have a good showing here. Maybe overtake a couple of cars and then really put himself in a great spot to overtake and improve well in Indy.
John Collins, Toby Yao, Raman Jr., Kaberlik, and I think that's Fender.
Fender,
Sorry,
that's how you say that.
Fender. Thank you, Fender. Thank you. I am like the worst when it comes to names, as you can tell, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like Pino in the Porsche. Then it looks like your last two will be the 508 Audi of who is that again?
Dijkstra. That is Lucas Dijkstra.
Dijkstra. Thank you. And then Alvarez, I believe, rounds up your field in the McLaren.
Yeah,
So yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 35 seconds for our second and final race here at Donington Park. So what do you think? Are we going to see a repeat of Skylar Melvernick winning again? Or are we going to see Rivera trying to redeem himself, I'm sure, after that unfortunate last lap exchange and losing out on the win?
Well, obviously this race is double the length. It's a 40-minute race compared to the 20-minute race. So it's a lot more room for mistakes, more drama, a lot more room, and a lot more importance falls on your pit stop now because you have more wiggle room, a bigger window to make that pit stop.
Yeah, very true. I did not realize that. So this is going to be very interesting for drivers. With this longer distance, though, how is this going to play a difference in terms of strategy and how these drivers approach this track on a much hotter surface, much longer running time? How is this going to play different?
Obviously, there's no refueling allowed, so the fuel load is increased dramatically as the time doubles. And then there's no refueling. Like I said, there is a mandatory tire change, so everybody will be taking that. So that's the big differences. So the fuel load, and then so that maybe you accompany your setup for that. What adjustments do you make to your setup as a driver when it's getting heavier? The car gets heavier with that heavier fuel load.
Well, one thing's for sure, with a heavier fuel load, you might want to consider just taking a quick peek at your pressures, maybe on the tires. Maybe you want to have some more support with them. Maybe you want to like stiffen up the springs a bit, maybe at the front or depending, maybe on the rear to try to compensate for the weight transfer. Otherwise, I mean, maybe if you're looking at more of like a long distance running, maybe you want to take some tweaks with your camber, your toe. Try to maybe reduce the amount of tire wear you have and maybe go for more long run pace instead of short run speed. And otherwise, I mean, there's a lot you can play with here, and that's what the kind of the beauty of ACC is, that you can play around with the setup quite a bit and actually find what makes work. Despite even just some of the smallest adjustments, you can find so much time in this game.
Yeah, that's another big factor, is making those over adjustments, which sets you back tons of pace as well. So you really got to find that happy medium between a too small of an adjustment or too big of an adjustment when you're working with your setups.
Absolutely. In fact, I think I'm trying to remember which one it was, but I believe there was a setup I had, and I don't think it was COTA. Maybe, which one was it? Maybe Kailami? Maybe Kailami, but in that Crown Jewel race. And Skylar.
He does not like those tires.
Tire check. Get your tires here, in the good words of particular YouTuber I am thinking of. So yeah. Hoping that hasn't done too much damage to Skylar's car there.
I know exactly of the YouTuber you're thinking of. I can't remember his name, but he's a big Wreckfest YouTuber and player.
Yes, anybody who is watching, put it in the comment section for us. Would love to recall that. I'm trying to remember who it is. I feel horrible. Oh no, it was Eddie Soundhead, I believe it was?
It was.
Yes, absolutely. Anyways, onwards. As we go in the final corner, Skylar will once again be leading us to the green flag. We'll be watching here, checking up there, and I think, was there contact between Dube and Nunez there? Drama already, we haven't taken the green flag, but however, we will now get the green flag here at Darlington. Race number 2 is underway.
Baby. Here we go into turn 1. Ricardo Rivera taking an early lead. Can he make the exit stick? And they're side by side up the hill. Looking back to the pack.
Rivera, very rapid start. Can he make it work here? But Skylar's going to have the inside lane in the next braking zone, so I don't know if he's going to make it work. He backs off.
I think that's a smart decision there. You don't want to risk it too much on lap number 1.
Oh,
looking
there's
through the field. There's yellows. It's Reed. There's a He's on his lid. He's on his lid. Huge crash back here in the field, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and take and look at these replays.
There might be a red flag here, absolutely. JP again, I tell you what, dude.
JP, one of these drivers involved on the inside of, I believe that is, and this just chaos ensues from after that.
That's a huge hit. For who was that?
I believe that was, I'm not for sure who that was. I believe that's number 649 car, or Flores. It is Carlos Flores, the 123.
Carlos Flores. Huge implications in the championship for the Legionnaires class. Absolute disaster for him.
Yes, absolute disaster for sure, and that's Mick Sharpenberry. And Toby Yao makes contact with the driver.
In trouble, is that Rodman around?
It is Rodman around. Absolute chaos on lap 1. Fastest lap goes to I'm Not Jimmy so far. Skylar Limnick holds his lead.
And I'm sure these guys are feeling quite thankful to be out in front and away from the mid-pack chaos. And actually quite, like, just a 7-car breakaway leaded by Skylar Limnick and what would be KP as he goes for a move on Nick Mosley. He'll have the inside line going into the braking zone, and I think he's going to complete that path. But
can he get the exit, though?
Up here.
The switchback.
Switcheroo. Here we go. Side by side, continuing up the hill here. Who's going to take it? I think Nick Mosley is going to get the run and defend that position quite well here.
That is amazing racecraft by him.
Absolutely. All the more reason why I believe he's going to be a force of nature next season in our Legionnaires class if he's not promoted this season, which he has already proven quite well that he deserves that Centurion's lead.
There's been lots of contact between the number 1 car and the number 296 of Richard McSharpenberry. That's Capelli and Sharpenberry. Let's take a look at these 2 replays here.
Absolutely, yeah. So we see them side by side going into, I believe this is the S's here. So a little bit of traffic here caught up there.
Just a bit of a love tap, it looks like. Let's take a look at the second piece of that.
I think he broke late there, actually, and made some more contact through there. If you don't mind, we can take a look at this again.
Oh, yeah, he goes,
there we go.
Yeah, he cuts the track a little bit, and it just goes side bangs the door.
I tell you what, Stewart's might be taking a look at that. That's not going to be too good for his pocketbook. He'll be on the spying eyes of the Stewarts for sure.
And JP Belanger involved in yet another piece of contact. Sorry to cut you off here, but this just happened in the chicane.
JP trying to make up ground again as he got involved in another wreck here. Looks like he makes it through the chicane okay, but I think it's been coming up in one of the hairpins perhaps.
Yeah, maybe, but that seems to be all, and he's right back on the bumper now, so we might see more to come.
Tell you what, I feel terrible for JP. This has not been the race weekend he's been looking forward to. Once again, getting caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time.
And that's Kapelke wide.
Ooh, wow, very close there as the JP goes for the move now. Is he going to make it stick? Maybe
it's a 2-for-1 deal. Look at that. Buy one, get one as he's going to hang it on the outside.
JP's got to make it stick, though. Still side by side here. It's going to be close here, but he's not going to have the preferred lane going into the next corner. But
the exit is beautiful. He does it. The 2-for-1.
Tell you what, that Mercedes run is exactly why I picked the Mercedes for this. It's just out of the corner. It is not like nothing else.
Yeah, we really saw that at COTA coming out of that chicane down to the long backstretch. It really took advantage, especially for you. You really drew out gaps there.
Absolutely. So, yeah, in fact, some more fighting up ahead, actually. Who is that?
Oh, and that's a spin around from behind.
Oh, who was that?
That looked to be, I can't find it right now. Who was that? It was somebody spinning around.
Do you think maybe it was just all by themselves, maybe?
No, I believe it was contact. Let's go and take a look at this race control. Yeah, here it is between the 16 and the 135. Let's go and take a look at this replay. Yeah, it's Reed just gets into the back of him and spins him right around. And then contact and chaos ensues from there, and Kapelke involved in yet another accident. Him and JP trying to find their way to every contact, it seems. Looks like they're playing bumper cars tonight.
Must be magnets on those cars because they have been nothing but magnets to wreck and chaos. Anyways, as we away from a bit for the leaders, let's tune back in here as we see Rivera running second and kind of losing a bit of ground once again to Levernick, but probably because Gonzalez all over the rear of that McLaren.
As we can see, looking over the wing, Gonzalez is right on the back of him. Let's take a look inside of Gonzalez's car.
All right, let's take a look here. We have a yellow flag in the back there, actually. Who is that?
We do. That is the 508 car of Lucas Dykstra. He's wide.
Interesting. That Audi is... Oh,
He has damage. He has damage all over the rear. There might be some damage on the side as well.
Yeah, it might be game over for that Audi. It looks trash.
It does. Just looks so unstable right now. Let's see if we can find out what happened.
Believe me, I can speak from experience what a trashed up car looks like. So
Totally not Suzuki yet again. Yeah, it just looks so unstable. Let's take a look at the replay and see what happened here.
Oh, that's JP again.
It seems to be him and JP Belanger again, and they bump on the way out.
What happened there, though?
I have no clue. Let's see if we can find the cause.
Yeah, I would love to see that. So again, JP there looks like he just goes wide once again.
He just gets to the grass and spins. Nowhere for JP to go.
An innocent bystander yet again for JP. I mean, this is a race weekend that he's going to quickly want to forget.
I feel like we're on repeat there with just how many times JP's been an unlucky bystander and getting involved in these wrecks here.
Absolutely. It's just a broken record, it seems, this weekend. It's just horrible for JP. I mean, hopefully his luck will turn around in the season finale, but tell you what, he is not going to be happy with the results of this race weekend.
Yeah, and as we see Simon Guderi trying to make a spot, or trying to gain a spot as we head down into the chicane.
Yeah, it's been very, very, very quick overall, but I tell you what, he's kind of back in the field. Yellow flag again. Looks like something going on in the first sector. Is that the Audi once again?
It is the Audi once again. I think it's time for him to retire and get off the track. It might just disturb more of the racing now with all this damage.
Absolutely. I think race control is going to have to act on this quick, because those leaders are going to catch him very quickly if this pattern continues.
Yes,
and
for
that
sure.
could be very disastrous. As you see Taker in the pits. Is that JP who's parking it?
That is JP. I think he's calling it a night, because remember we saw him go full speed into the front end. Oh, maybe he's hopping back out.
Oh, but he's going to be needing to get out of the way of these lead lap cars, though. So we'll see how he deals with that. But as we go ahead to back end to Simon Guderi, he is all over the back of that Porsche. I'm pretty sure he's not going to want to stay behind him fighting along as long. Can speak with you.
For sure. He has the gap of 1/10 of a second. Literally, the difference is a braking meter.
Absolutely.
And he's getting
Real
right
quick,
back
we
on it.
haven't touched upon our leaders in quite a bit. Let's take a look with them. Has anything changed with them?
No, Skylar Lipnick still holds first place. As you can see Ricardo Rivera behind him. Behind Ricardo Rivera is I'm Not Jimmy, who just overtook Christian Dube.
Interesting. I wonder what happened there. Because Christian Dube was quite a bit ahead of I'm Not Jimmy going into there. In fact, wasn't Dube not even in third place? Something must have happened to one of the other cars. I don't know who it was that was running in third, but I definitely know it wasn't Dube.
I'm not sure who it was either. We got distracted by all this fighting in the back. I think it was Gage Gonzalez, and it says here that we have contact between the two, between him and the number 49.
Gage Gonzalez, did he get caught up in lap traffic here?
He did. Does that cause any more issues? Because that doesn't seem like too big of a drop-off. Let's take a look.
Interesting. I don't know, it didn't look like he had any issues there, but we do see this live shots right now as he overtakes McBerry or something?
Yeah, McSharpenberry behind.
McSharpenberry, thank you. Thank you for the correction. I don't know why.
No problem. But it says here that there is now contact between the number Simon Muderi and Glenn Pena, as we see JP Belanger trying to make a move on traffic that is a lap ahead of him.
I mean, despite the woes right now, JP's still showing some pace here, so very good job.
Very quick. Maybe driving with some anger, you know. Sometimes anger can really put you into that next category, that next like second or so of pace. Oh, and that's Simon. He's around and it's the wall.
Man, oh man, and be careful not to get back out in traffic. I mean, Simon Buderi, that's going to be a lot of damage to that McLaren.
Yes, indeed.
Speaking from experience.
You have
Anyways, enough of the Suzuka jokes. Let's take a look here. Looks like Glenn and I believe that's JP Belanger once again going for another move here. Pretty amazing.
He's all the way on the side. Does he make the lunge? It looks like he will. What a set, and he's going to get stopped in time. And Kapelka's going to take advantage too. He's going to get past Glenn as well.
extremely wide from the Porsche there. I don't know what happened there. They must have misjudged his braking point.
Misjudge a
But
braking point or a lockup.
yeah, I would, and maybe the grip's going away a bit. Maybe it's time for us to consider the fact that in a few minutes time we'll be probably seeing our first green flag pit stops here in this 40-minute second race.
Yeah, the pit window has not opened yet. It will open up shortly in just a couple of minutes. But there's also contact between Glenn and Simon before they got separated. So this could be a key factor in why his tire wear is overdone as well.
Simon already trying to recover from that earlier spin and maybe driving from the anger. And yeah, that's clear contact there.
Yeah.
Great save by the Porsche though.
Absolutely. Maybe a bit of a tire wear effect, but not as much as you would think.
Yeah,
that would really
but, I mean,
consider this amount of drop off in pace. But let's take a look at this fight for P3 here. It's Christian Dube on I'm Not Jimmy.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Not Jimmy actually doing a great job here holding that last podium spot here from the Mercedes of Christian Dube. He is definitely doing a good job actually, seemingly pulling away a little bit as we come out of the hairpins. I mean, that Lamborghini will have a slight advantage in those slower corners with more rotation. So, but definitely interesting in terms of pace. What was the lap time there between the two?
The lap time between the two, as Christian Dube's last lap time was a 127.815. I'm Not Jimmy's last lap time was a 127.857. So Dube closes the gap by about 0.04 of a second.
Yeah, not much between them though, but we're going to be seeing how that'll play into maybe the upcoming pit stops. But we definitely see it. It looks like a 2-car breakaway actually with our leaders.
Yeah, but as we take a look here, Dale almost going for a move there on Pena. The 2-car breakaway is certainly there. It's a 1.2 second gap between Rivera and Sky Levernick as the pit window opens, but I'm Not Jimmy behind. 8 seconds. 8 seconds the gap to him and Rivera.
Something must have happened to I'm Not Jimmy then, because I mean, that or maybe Skyler and Rivera just rapid pace in these later portions of the race. I'm not sure how they pulled out such a gap and so quickly. They were just together with the 3rd and 4th place car and just a few laps to go, and suddenly they're on a race of their own.
Yeah, I mean, this battle between these the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place, even 6th place, is all super close here. That could be a big factor on a drop of pace. Maybe Ricardo Rivera and Skyler Levernick just stepped up the pace, put it into that next mode, that next gear, whatever it was, and are just pulling away.
Tell you what, I was talking about potentially earlier takers, but maybe that's not the case for these top front two, that we do see some pit stops coming in. Looks like KP is deciding to go in a little bit early. Plenty of cars, actually.
KP is the lead, the car highest up the order to go pit, but Nick Mosley, who was right behind him, follows him in.
Nick Mosley, once again, kind of playing copycat with JP and for the majority of this race weekend. So balling in once again. Will we actually get him here in the pits, unlike last time where he lost out to KP on the last race of pit stops?
It's definitely going to be interesting to see those come out. Another driver that is pitting is Gage Gonzalez. Right behind him, as you can see in that Sky Sports livery.
Yeah, Gage Gonzalez, unfortunate outing this time around, and he's not gonna be happy about it. But I'm sure the pit stop will be definitely kind of a breath of fresh air. Get on new tires, and just try to make the most of the rest of this race. Score as many points as he can.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he got P3 last race, so there's that to highlight on. He'll definitely look at that as a positive.
Absolutely. If that's the big thing about these outings. I mean, once again, I kind of cite my woes at Valencia a couple weeks ago. I finished 16th in the first race, and I could have let that affect me and just put me in the dump for the next race, but I knew that wasn't going to help me in matters. I was beating Christian Dube in the pits from 4th place.
Yeah, and Nunez follows him in.
Absolutely, so it's going to be yet another race off pit road. In fact, let's get an update on that race off pit road between KP and Mosley. Who came out on top there?
KP's in top, and the gap seems to be about 5 seconds.
Wow, very much. Once again, rapid pit stop from KP. He's been absolutely rapid in the pits. So let's see if that takes advantage. As looks like the leaders, not much lap traffic, but looks like, is that the number 1 car with them? Is he a lap down?
Yes, the number 1 car will be about a lap down as he was involved. He was the car that actually made contact and flipped. Who was Carlos Flores.
Unbelievable, and I'm surprised that both Flores and Kapelki are still running right now after that horrific accident. I know what it was like hitting the wall at Suzuka, and that car was destroyed. I cannot imagine what those two cars are dealing with as one went upside down, and the damage that must be on that car, and somehow got back on all four wheels and kept going is nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah, as soon as Flores got through that accident, he limped it back to the pit lane and probably took a real long pit stop to repair as much damage as he could.
Absolutely. Anyhow, I think our leaders are coming through the last couple hairpins, I believe, or am I
No, they're
mistaken?
up through the first couple corners of Sector 2 now.
Ah, okay. Pixelated Discord. Thank you very much. Anyways, looks like Skyler pulling away from Rivera. Now the gap almost 3 seconds.
Yes, it is about 3 seconds as we speak right now.
Yeah, and lap traffic up ahead. I mean, once again, maybe this is the time for Skyler to make the pit stop now that the gap is open. And he can take advantage of that and try to get back ahead of Rivera as the pit stops go on.
Yeah, once again, are you paying opposite? If you're Rivera, if Skyler boxes this lap, do you box right after him? Or if Rivera boxes this lap, do you, as Skyler box right after him as well?
I mean, unfortunately for Rivera, he's not in really a good position right now. I mean, he is closing the gap a little bit. Now the gap under right around 2.7 seconds. But no matter what he do, I mean, Skyler's kind of playing advantage. But Rivera's going to have to find some pace here if he wants to stay out, which I would be overall my pick. If Skyler were to pit this lap, which he does not appear. But looks like Rivera, is he staying out too?
He did. He took a very, very tight line into that last corner, which made you think that he was going to box. He even made me think. But no, he stays out.
However, a tenth quicker than Skyler there, so the pace is still there. So it's not like he's dropped off in a lot of pace here. Just maybe a mistake or something in one of the previous laps.
Yeah, let's go take a look at this separate class race. It's Moderna ahead of Reed, and Reed looking to make the overtake.
Battle of the Lamborghinis here, and Moderno looking to try to score as many points as he can, and Reed pits.
Reed just takes a shot straight into pit lane, almost hits the inside wall of that pit lane. That's how aggressive he came across.
Yeah, the check up there, so that's going to cost him a lot of time.
And I believe that's Dykstra in the pit lane retired.
Yeah, Dykstra, unfortunate for outing this time, and I do agree, it's probably for the best, especially with a car just struggling to keep pace, and I don't know if he got called in by race control, if that was his own doing, but yeah, probably the best choice overall, as we see Toby Yao actually running 5th, just behind Shem here, so I'm not sure if this is just a cycle of hits or a good outing for the two, but well done Toby Yao getting up into the top 5 here.
I think it's a mix of both here, as a couple of the guys have pitted, Nick being one of the ones noticeable, as well as KP. But Shim's still having a great race. As of right now, he leads the Legionnaires class, with Toby out behind him P2.
Absolutely, that's very good news here. And the leaders are once again electing not to pit this time.
Rivera is in, though.
Rivera is in. All right, so this is critical for Rivera. He needs a really rapid pit stop and a very rapid outlap to try to get ahead of Skyler. I mean, this is going to be critical. So Skyler, once again, kicking up dirt, trying to get as much lap time as possible, but also trying to get around that lap traffic. So luckily for him, it doesn't seem like anything's really close at the moment, so he should be okay for this lap. But this is a critical in lap for Skyler Lovernick.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look. I'm right along with him here. As
and Reed with a 30-second stop-go penalty. I wonder if he maybe sped in the pit lane entrance.
Yeah, I would assume so. Because remember, he took that flag. That is a yellow flag for him as well.
Things are just going bad to worse for Reed.
Yeah, remember he had that really aggressive pit entry, and I guarantee you it was speeding the pit lanes for him for that 30-second stop-go.
Oh, that is very unfortunate for Reed, and you do not want a 30-second stop-go here. That's for sure. That's just going to cost you so much, especially in lap time. I mean, that's a third of a lap to be sitting still.
Yeah, that's even more of a third of a lap, because we've seen some sectors where it's a sub 20-second sector.
Skyler's in. This is it, guys. This is the pit stop that will make it matter with just under 20 minutes left in the race, and Rivera's in lap traffic.
Lap traffic does get out of the way, though, and pretty harmless.
still, but did that cost him anything? This is a very critical in lap for Rivera. You're going to have to watch this closely. Once again, it'll be the battle of the Titans here with Rivera and Skyler. Dominant performance out of those two all weekend long. Who's going to come out on top of this round?
Yeah, maybe they'll switch spots, you know, a little second place to first place action for Rivera or vice versa for Skyler Levernick.
As we also, real quick, we see Shim and Toby Yao in our Legionnaires class making their pit stops as well.
They do as well here. Shim coming to a stop. Skyler Levernick is still not moving as he starts moving as I speak. Where is Rivera? Rivera is coming onto the front straight right now.
Lap traffic played a factor. I think Skyler's going to hold the lead very comfortably too.
Yes, for sure, as he's out on track now.
Absolutely. Well done to Skyler. Well, excuse me. Well done, Skyler. Very good job getting out there. Yeah, I mean, dominant now. Like, he has put on quite the gap over Rivera, and I want to say lap traffic played a huge factor in that.
I couldn't agree more. The gap is now 3.6 seconds. But this inherits the lead to Mick Sharpenberry. The gap, 18 seconds to Skyler Levernick behind.
Definitely not going to be winning this race, but I'm sure that he'll try to make the most of this. Maybe go long, perhaps. Maybe try to maximum out the time there if he's keeping good pace. If he comes across the line instead of electing not to pit, we'll just see what his pace looks like and see how that plays out for him.
Yeah, I'm scanning around because I thought I saw damage, and yes, I do see damage on the rear end of his car and the front end here.
Ooh, so that might play a big factor in his lap time here. So we'll just see how that car is damage-wise, as he does elect to stay out here, and the time is, I can't see on Discord, what is it?
It's a 128.422 is his, was that last lap. His fastest a 128.17.
All right, so about 2 seconds off the pace when it comes to the lead pack, I do believe, but we'll go back here. Who's second place right behind? Is that just Skyler?
That is Skyler, and the car behind him is lap traffic in the form of Pino.
26 something for Skyler and Rivera. They are absolutely catching the leader like an absolute tomahawk out of a cannon, which I have no idea how I made that reference up, but you know what? We'll roll with it.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I say we keep it. All right, let's move on now. As Levernick, like you said, absolutely brutal pace compared to Mick Sharpenberry flying around this track.
What do you say? Maybe make a t-shirt out of that?
Maybe. I'll be one of the first buyers. Just let me know when you get it.
All right. Anyways, we'll go back to Skyler Levernick. Dominant gap, almost 4 seconds over Rivera. Rivera's going to have to do something real quick to find some pace and close that gap, or something dramatic is going to have to happen to what has been a dominant, consistent, and just flawless performance from Skyler Levernick all weekend long.
Yeah, you can see Rivera in the rear view mirror of Skyler Nick as we come around to these final couple of hairpins. You can see him looming right over that crest right there.
Yeah, Mick Sharpenberry yet to pit so far. So, in fact, I spoke too soon. He is in the pit.
He is in right there, as you can see.
Absolutely. So that's going to inherit the lead back to Levernick once again. In fact, 26.7 for Rivera. What was Levernick's last lap?
26.6.
So faster lap. So faster lap for Levernick. So he's pretty comfortable right now. Rivera is going to have to find a couple more tenths of a second if he's wanting to deny his Levernick's 5th win in a row. I mean, gotta be a record for ZRL, and we'll have to find that statistic hopefully within the next couple of the minutes. Maybe if someone can probably find it for us, that would be fantastic, because that's gotta be a record.
It definitely is. It's the best out of anybody in this league this season. Let's take a look if we can find it later. But let's talk about KP for a second, who has made quite the run. Remember, he started all the way down at, what was it, 8th or 9th place, and is up into P3 and has already made his pit stop. Absolutely flying this race.
Incredible work from KP. I mean, I tell you what, this is going to be definitely a performance that he'll be very proud of going forward. I mean, it's not easy to make up ground at any track, yet alone Donington Park. I mean, this is incredible work from him. Meanwhile, let's go back and take a look at our Legionnaires class with Nick Mosley And it looks like Shim is, I don't know how far behind him it is, but we do have 2 of the Legionnaires class in a row in the running order. So how's
Actually,
this going to
3.
play?
It's Mosley, then Shim, and then Toby Yao, with a lap
Toby
car
Yao.
in between him and Shim.
And I think that's Gonzalez in the white in McLaren there, still on track somehow and still holding on to that, I'm sure, very wounded McLaren.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go take a look, see if we can find any big noticeable damage in his car.
Absolutely. So, be very interesting to see. I'm still baffled that McLaren is still running on track. Or no, I'm mistaken. That's Carlos Flores. I'm very sorry about that. So,
Yeah, he
that is
was the
not-
driver that went on his head. But it
is
seems
true.
that he reset his car in the pit lane.
Tell you what, whatever magic they have over at his team, they
At
must
Pigeon
be some
Racing.
magic- Yeah, Bob Bear Bond, I'm sure.
I'm studying to be an auto mechanic myself. I gotta take some tips, maybe take some more notes from them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
All right, but Daniel Moderna, I think he's running 4th again here. No, is it? No, I'm correct. 4th place in the
Legionnaires.
Legionnaires class. So that's going to be good for him if he can hang on to that. That's going to be another 16 points, closing down the lead. So if I do my calculations correctly, let's see if I can actually cheat a little bit here. The magic of calculation.
Big time cheater over here.
Yeah, you're the one that talked earlier, right? 19 points. If things hold, it will be just 19 points separating myself and Daniel going into the final race of the season.
That would be interesting to watch here as we see Doob right up on the back of KP. And the pit window is closed as we have just about 12 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this race.
Absolutely. So Christian Doob doing well here, holding well in 4th. And I think he's catching KP a bit. He seems to have closed down the gap. But speaking of closing down the gap, how about Juan Nunez? Still holding strong in that 5th place.
Yeah, for sure, holding up strong in that 5th place, like you said. Just running his race. You know what I mean? Just kind of behind, seeing if these guys can make a mistake and capitalize on that himself.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jimmy in the back there just kind of lingering behind them. He's lost quite a bit of spots compared to where he was running before. Must have not had the best pit stop around there.
Yeah, he might have been involved in something. I can't see from where I am now. The most recent contact was between Glenn and Simon Muderi, which was at 17 minutes left to go in the race. So
about 6 minutes ago, there's something happened. I'm not sure. Okay, anyways, let's take a look here. What's our lap time with our leaders? Has Rivera made any progress?
the last lap for Skylar Levernick was a 126.4. And the last lap for Ricardo Rivera was a 126.7.
Wow,
But
I mean,
Levernick did exceed the track limits, giving Ricardo Rivera on that last lap the fastest lap in the race.
interesting. I mean, again, Levernick absolutely just pulling away. I mean, this is absolute domination from Skylar Levernick. I mean, tell you what, I mean, if we're seeing a Max Verstappen copycat in this league, it's him right now. So,
Yeah,
absolutely
definitely.
amazing.
Yeah,
I
except
mean,
in a Red Bull, it's in a Ferrari, so a little different.
Yeah, perhaps maybe we need a Renault car next update, ACC.
Yeah, maybe. Just put like a bull out there. Just paint it red,
There you
ACC.
go.
You know what I mean? Just throw
There
it
you
out
go.
there.
I mean, then again, though, one of the Ferraris in one of the GT classes, I don't remember which one. I don't think it was DTM, but one of the teams or something in one of the GT series is sponsored by Red Bull, so kind of fit.
Yeah, I guess. Kind of strange, you know, going from such big competitors in F1 to best friends, you know, pretty much holding hands in the GT class.
Interesting. I don't know how that works out, but hey, yeah, I'm not going to question it. So anyways, going back to Skylar Levernick here, I mean, not much to really see here. He's just pulling away here, just running his race, very consistent all weekend long. So any update with Nick Mosley in that Legionnaires battle, perhaps?
Yeah, looking down, he's P8 overall with Shim 13 seconds behind. Shim falling off after the pit cycle, but holding off
Wow,
Toby
we're-
Al by about 3 seconds.
Yeah, I mean it's not kind of over yet with that second place spot. So, if we can see what their last laps were, that would be amazing to see, and see if maybe Shim's catching up to Nick at all.
Yeah, we'll see. Definitely, the last lap for Mosley was a 127.332. Shim's last lap was a 128.147. So maybe a mistake on Shim's end, or just blistering pace from Mosley. I think maybe a mix of both. But
Well,
here we see Nunez right on the back of Dube. Like we were talking about earlier, that gap was closing, and it's right down to the line right now.
For sure. I mean, that Nunez slowly has been catching Dube over the course of this last few minutes. So perhaps maybe a move might be coming here. And once again, KP just holding strong there, keeping Dube behind him. So great job from him once again. I mean, it would be amazing to see him round up the podium here after what was a disappointing qualifying redemption. For KP would be wonderful here, and very, very good for him in the standings here.
Yeah, rounding out the top three, it's a three-way fight for third. You know, kind of funny. I actually make that a four-way fight, as I'm not Jimmy sneaking in there too. Passing the lap car here on the straightaway.
Yeah, I'm not Jimmy has made up quite a bit of ground over the last few laps. I'm not sure what his lap times are compared to that, but I believe if I just saw a glimpse there, he was 2/10 faster than Nunez on that last lap.
Yeah, let's take a look. A 127.42 versus a 127.6. You are correct. He was 2/10 faster on that lap.
Now Lamborghini looking strong in the late race pace. Can he pull it off and maybe pick up a top 5 here?
Yeah, look at he's looming just outside by half a second, is what the timesheets say.
Yeah, I mean, and good news is it doesn't seem like too much more lap traffic involved here for these four incredibly talented and very quick drivers right now. So this is going to be a really interesting fight for the last podium spot.
Yeah, another interesting factor is these guys are all closing these gaps, but so slowly that you got to think, are they running out of laps? Are they running out of time to make these overtakes happen?
For sure, something's going to have to give here, and whether it be someone's tires falling off or a mistake from one of these guys, but yeah, I mean, something's going to have to happen, and something drastic if one of these guys are going to go after this podium spot and catch KP.
Yeah, why don't we add another one to the list, because why not put another hand in the bucket? It is Gage Gonzalez now joining the fight. So this fight for P3 stretches all the way back to P7. Quite the train going on.
Yeah, for sure. This is a very entertaining battle for the last podium spot. It's anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, for sure. As like I said, like you said earlier, a mistake from anyone from KP all the way down to Gonzalez could play a big factor. Maybe tangle up another car in the mistake as well, and shoot up more people in different positions. And
as you said, I mean, not a lot of time left. With just 6 minutes, 30 seconds left in the race. I mean, there's only a few laps left in this race to make something happen, and something's going to have to happen quick.
Yeah, going to take a quick glance at our leaders. It's Ricardo Rivera dropping off now to 5 seconds. The gap between him and Skylar Levernick. It looks like Levernick's going to bring this one home, maybe in conserve mode, just trying to put it away.
Who's down with the yellow flag there at the one towards the top of the hill there?
That is Pino. I don't know what happened. We'll see if there's any contact involved.
Not sure, but Pino not really the best outing this weekend. It's very unfortunate. I mean, Porsches are always been pretty rapid, especially around these very technical, like quick change of direction circuits like Donington Park. So unfortunate to see him struggling in the latter stages of this race in the Porsche. So hopefully,
look at this! It's Christian Dube going side by side up ahead with KP.
Yeah, wow! It looks like everyone's pretty much closed up here. Something's going to have to happen here. I think we're going to be seeing a dive bomb or two coming very, very soon.
Yeah, someone is going to have to give. Something is going to have to give here. Sorry for cutting you off there, but this is just an insane fight here.
Amazing. Who's the fastest out of this group? It looks like Gonzalez with 27.4 compared to 27.6 is in front, and maybe a 27.8 was KP the one who said that?
The slowest driver of that group on that lap was Christian Dube with a 27.88, but right behind him was KP with a 27.837. And Gage Gonzalez, you said it, is the fastest with a 27.437 out of that group, so he is looking to make a late race charge here with under 5 minutes left to go.
We're creating a Mercedes sandwich here with quite a bit of drama here, and here's the move going in the back between, looks like Jimmy and Gonzalez. Gonzalez, faster car here, is going to go for the switcheroo here. This is going to be very tight.
It looks like he has it. Can he nail the exit? I'm Not Jimmy might still be there. No, I'm Not Jimmy falls behind into the drafts.
Great move from Gonzalez here as we go into the chicane, so that's going to be a huge advantage for him. Looks like Jimmy did have a little bit of a bobble on corner entry there, but he did get a pretty good run. And a drive-through penalty for Gonzalez. What happened there?
I think he cut the chicane a bit too much, and that's going to ruin his run here today. He's going to have to serve that the next 3 laps, and if he doesn't, it's going to apply at the end of the race. I think he has to come in this lap.
Disaster for Gage Gonzalez on what was could have been an incredible last bit of running, has turned into a nightmare with track limits plaguing him on the final laps.
We were talking about it before race number 1 even started, about how track limits are very strict and how it's a very tight and flowy track here. We were talking about in free practice 1, and it showed play effect here in race number 2.
Yeah, I mean, just what an unfortunate turn of events for Gage Gonzalez. I mean, I don't know what happened and what may have been the other instances of track limits, because he seemed to be running really well, but just that little bit too greedy on that last move must have just thrown him in for a drive-through. That's very unfortunate indeed.
Yeah, and looking at another close fight, it is Kapelke here gaining in on Mick Sharpenberry. That's the battle for 11th.
Yeah, Kapelke, I mean...
Yeah, he is one of the fastest guys here.
Tell you what, Kapelke, despite the early race drama, has done a really good job to come back and give potentially challenge towards a good finish here. I mean, nothing to complain about with just outside the top 10, but especially after all the drama. Is that Adorno going a bit slowly in terms of overall pace? I thought he was much up the order in terms of the Legionnaires class, but has he dropped back quite a bit?
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. It seems that he has, as he's down in 13th behind with the lap car separating him between him and Kapelke. And he's going to go wide, way wide, through the gravel of that chicane.
Hopefully that's not track limits there, because as we said, we've already seen track limits playing a big factor in terms of race results. So luckily it doesn't seem like it's really hurt him too much, but he must be struggling for grip on these latter stages of the race. Meanwhile, tune back into Nunez here in the battle for the podium spot. And once again, KP holding really strong in that Honda. Absolutely.
There's a yellow flag out for the 138 car. Let's see if we can find that. It is Sean Collis, and I can't see why.
Sean Collis, yeah, once again, another Porsche in trouble here. I don't know why, but Porsches are just not running well this weekend. It's very unfortunate to see.
The highest up Porsche is Sean Collis running in P16.
We can tune back here with our main fight. In fact, Christian Dube has really closed up on KP, and he's got a run going in the hairpin.
He does indeed, and he's going to concede it and maybe try and focus on the exit as he takes that wider approach. This is probably going to be the last lap after the leaders come across it, as
Absolutely.
they just finish up Sector 1.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I mean, once again, Skylar is absolutely just putting on a clinic this weekend and showing everyone how it is done here at Donington Park. Absolute masterclass driving from Skylar Lubnick.
And the cherry on top, he has the fastest lap of this race.
I tell you what, Mr. Domination is going to be my new nickname for him, because that is what he's done this weekend. Absolute domination from Skylar Lubnick, and more than likely on his way for a consecutive win in the season. What a performance.
Yeah, 5 in a row. That's like playing Connect 4, but with an extra stage, you know what I mean? He's just elite right now.
Absolutely. I tell you what, pretty amazing. As we go ahead and see, he's going through the final few hairpins now and approaching the final corner. Tell you what, this is something else. Skylar Lubnick, Mr. Domination, win number 5 in a row and 5th win on the season. He will dominate. Oh, and my mistake, he is not taking the win. He's just gone across the line and took in the white flag. So one more lap to secure it.
Yeah, one more lap to secure it, and we'll take a look at this battle between Dube and KP for 3rd place, a final podium spot, and Dube goes deep there, giving KP the breathing room he's been dreaming of the last couple laps.
He's going to have to give it one last shot here, but I Shut the,
Oh, there's a
drama.
big contact. That's Reed and somebody else. Let's take a look and see that on replay.
Absolutely. I think that was, is that Alvarez or something? The Ferrari?
That is Alvarez. He just goes way
Not drive
deep.
it.
And, right into the back of him, and they spin
no.
around.
Oh, Reed is not going to be happy about that. I know that for certain. And that is going to dash his hopes of a great finish here. And that, and wasn't that the different classes, Alvarez and Reed?
Let's take a look, and yes, it is. Alvarez is in the Legionnaires class compared to Reed, who is in the Centurions.
That is not going to go well with Reed nor the stewards, my friends. But as for what is going to go well, how about this? Mr. Domination, we'll try this again. Take 2. Absolutely putting on a clinic, as I said. Kyle Livernick in number 5 of the season 12 ZRL. He will win and dominate at Donington Park.
The
well
American,
done, my friend.
number 52 Ferrari, win number 5 in a row, as you were just mentioning. Coming into P2 now, it's going to be right behind him, Ricardo Rivera, the Puerto Rican E-Racing Club driver.
Well done, Rivera. I mean, albeit disappointing to come up second best of 2 races in a row, but he will definitely be happy with 2 very consistent finishes. As we go to our final podium spot, it's going to be KP holding off Christian Dube all race long to take the final podium spot in the Honda.
A great drive from him as he started 9th all the way up to P3. Dube behind Nunez in 5th. That rounds out your top 5. I'm Not Jimmy, P6. The first place for the Legionnaires class, once again, it's Nick Mosley. 2 in a row for him.
Hell yeah, Nick. Nice job, my friend. That is, once again, great work. That actually makes him perfect on the season for all the double headers. So great job, great showing from Nick. So you'll definitely be proud of that as we see contact between Toby
Even bigger contact back there.
Oh my goodness.
The circus has been let loose.
Oh yeah, we've seen enough drama that now everyone's probably just relieved that it's all over. Demo Derby here. To see one of the Mercedes
just come flying.
Oh my days. Well, I'll have to say, this has been quite the race weekend as we take a look at the results of race 2. Skylar Nuvernick, once again, your winner here at Donington Park. As we go ahead and take a look through the rest of the order here. In fact, Nick Mosley, your once again second win on the weekend. Well done for him. He'll be your winner once again in Legionnaires class, followed by Shim Yao Moderna, who will finish 4th again and will be 19 points separating myself and him going into Indy for the Legionnaires Championship.
Yeah, it should be very interesting between you and him. I'll round out the rest of this Legionnaires class here as number 5, Alberts. 6th is Rodman Jr. The 3rd. 7th is Sean Collis. 8th, Fender. 9th, Buderi. 10th, Flores. 11th, Pino. 12th, Alvarez. And 13th, Lucas Dykstra. And
as for our Centurions, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Domination again from Mr. Levernick. It is first place for him. 2nd, Ricardo Rivera. 3rd, KP in that Honda. The only Honda driver I should mention who's having amazing results as of late. 4th, Christian Dube. 5th, Nunez. 6th, I'm Not Jimmy. 7th, Mosley. My bad. That is first place in Legionnaires class. 7th in Centurions is Gage Gonzalez. 8th is McSharpenberry. 9th, Kapelke. And 10th, Reed. 11th, JP Bellinger, who got involved in so many accidents as a bystander, not even in race 2, but in race 1 as well.
You might as well drive around with a bubble around in his car with how much he's been involved with. Just many accidents, not his fault. So, unfortunate result for JP Bellinger, but I'm sure he'll be back and stronger than ever as we go into our season finale at Indy.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, guys, it was great to have you here at ZRL Season 12 of the Galaxy Tour. This was round 7 here at Donington Park. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe and follow us on every social media you can find at ZRL or Zealous Racing League. Once again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, SimGrid and Advanced Sim Racing. You guys have a wonderful night, and I will see you next week for Indianapolis.